All right. Good morning. It's 8:30 a.m. It's the 9th of March, and we're playing some D&D. We are in session one of After the Odyssey, titled "Back to the Beginning." A lot of shit happened the last time. We took a nice 2 week break because we had a 7 year time skip after the end of last session. So we will do a recap, and then we'll find out what the players and their characters have been up to since then.
Good morning, everybody. Streaming to you live from Tempe, Arizona. We're in a somewhat horrible twist of fate. I found out that they do not use daylight savings time. So yes, I did get a normal amount of sleep, but I'm stuck with these sessions starting at 6:30 in the morning for the next, I don't know how long. It's been 6 months for me, I think, that I've been doing this. Oh my God. So I had a super crazy busy week, past 2 weeks. So I actually didn't really do a huge, did the detailed recap that I normally do research, because it was either that or figure out what Arcadia was up to for the past 7 years. But I can tell you a few things. One is that if you remember a few sessions ago, when we killed Sidon, he asked his father to avenge him. And his father is Kentimane, who is one of the major titans, the protector of Thylea, who is basically Mother Earth. And so he arrived quite angry. And right before we were to begin the battle with him, as we were rather beaten up and not at our full strength, Zymor showed up with his 7 canaries, and we found out that he is really indeed, as Gravik insisted, Bahamut. And so he entered the battle with 2 of his ancient gold dragons. Robin was our guest host or guest player playing Bahamut for us. And during the game, if I remember correctly, it was Mad Kilt and Messy Fresh who helped us out with some healing. And basically, Bahamut and his 2 dragons did the bulk of the major fighting, because helping us out. Arcadia was quite upset, being that Kentimane is her god. She didn't fight at all. She spent the entire session trying different tactics to try to calm him down, from praying to him, praying to Thylea, his consort, playing her harp quite well, I might add, to try to calm the beast. And oh, big surprise, everyone, Amitrius and she got into an exchange of words, and they still don't like each other. At least at the end of this session, he basically told her that she needed to either fight Kentimane or Bahamut. She needed to pick a side. She argued that she was supporting the party, which she was. She was casting haste on him and healing people, and he did not, although he was complimentary and said during their time together they always supported each other in battle, but he had it, and he called her pathetic, and she said, "Fuck you, you're not my father," and called him an asshole, and that's pretty much how they ended. And so the battle ends. Kentimane sinks into the earth. Bahamut says, as long as justice has been served, because he is the god of justice. And so what happens after that is we switch to a cinematic style. And this is, we've gone here before, where sometimes it's like, you see what the characters do not see, but as viewers and as players, we see this. So words appear on the screen, and it says "sometime later." And we, the viewers, see a nasty, evil, black, voidish dragon. And we had seen this twice. We had seen the dragon after our battle in the middle of the sea with, oh, help me, guys, what's his name? Hergeron. When Kentimane put us to fight Hergeron, and was it the Lady in Red? And we fought the battle, and then we cut to again a scene that only the viewers see, and we saw this dragon before, and the writer said, "Soon, you will have your revenge." And then we saw it again floating around in the astral sea in the Tower of Praxis. So we know this has been in the players have known this is in the background, not the characters. So we see this dragon again, and it flies and lands. And a fairly short dwarven figure drops off of it with its back to us, and it pats the dragon on the chin and says, "The first hurdle has been broken. Soon you will have your revenge, Arcadia." Arcadia meaning the name of the dragon. Then the scene switches. It is nice and green, and there's not a cloud in sight. We hear 3 dragons roar, and they fly across the screen and over Mitros, and the words on the screen say, 7 years later. And as the dragons are flying around Mitros, we notice that the city has been redone. It has been built up. We see statues of the heroes as well as the 5 gods. It seems that everything is pretty nice here. Then we switch scenes again and go down into the Nether Sea, which, if you recall, is where we fought and killed Lutheria. It is her domain. We see a nice black castle and a nice black throne inside the castle, and we see a hooded figure sitting on top. The camera zooms in, and we see their eyes grow bright with lightning. And then we go farther past the Nether Sea over to a place where there are certain statues. And there's a spear next to one of them. It was used to scratch a toe. It's when we found some titans that were had been petrified. The statue finally breaks free, and this titan stands up and walks slowly to the prison that we found there, which had the purple worms in it, and the hooded figure that Corbin made a deal with and had exchanged or gave a sending stone to about wanting to release Spike while the rest of us thought this was crazy. So the Titan goes and walks slowly to the prison and starts banging on it. Boom, boom, boom. And it goes into the prison. And we see Spike, the beautiful Spike creature. And the camera comes up to its eye. And as the eye pops open, the pupil focuses on the camera. And that is the end of that. And we've spent the past 2 weeks furiously RPing, doing some really great work, fun work. And you will next see the characters 7 years later.
Yeah. Good job. Hello, Spike Keeper. Are you there? No. So, yes, we had a 7-year time jump. The world has changed a bit. So let me actually go back up to my message because I can't remember off the top of my head about all the changes. As soon as I can find it. There's been so much chatter. Yeah. Demetrius and Arcadia don't like each other. Plot twist of the century. Alright, so the first few months of Mitros, the people spent cleaning and clearing up the city and amassing a full death toll. Half the city was totally destroyed and 1/4 was pretty badly burned. The casualty count was 14,000 and some change of a population of 40,000. Among the death count besides Kyra and Vulcan included Acastus, which was the king, Brogart, which was the big-ass Minotaur, Fisk, which was the boss man, the Footmaster Fargrim, even though some people say that's sus because it's Fargrim, and Michaela, who was one of the Amazon, the Queen's Guard. Under the leadership of Queen Valis, the city has been steadily rebuilding and strengthening itself. A region and Mitros came to terms and are now allies. The bulk of the Amazon stayed for about a week after the battle for Mitros was over, then went back to Themis. The vampires that were north of Arigio were destroyed. The centaurs, Gigans, and giants who were on the side of Sidon dispersed back to their various homesteads with the understanding of being destroyed if they were to attack again. Pythor retired to Pythoria, which is this little seaside city. Around year 5, Queen Anora and Lord Bloothaven from Astoria announced they were going to travel back to his homeland and raise their 2 young children in the countryside. The people of her town elected the guard John. If anyone remembers from way back when, John was one of the guards from Astoria that player Steve, who was very chaotic, kind of tortured and was a total asshole to him. They elected him to be the newly formed position of mayor. And for the most part, there have been peace and harmony in the land outside of some people. So we will do some. Where have you been? First, I want to get Geiner out of the way because Geiner he was with the party for a whole day and a half, or maybe even a day. So yeah, Geiner, what has he done in the past 7 years?
Geiner, after experiencing being trapped in that Lutheria scythe for so long, had decided that after the Titans were defeated, he had no reason to travel or adventure anymore. So he started up his own bar and started to drown his sorrows from the loss of his family and wife due to Lutheria killing them as well. So he just sort of got a pot belly, got out of shape somewhat, but he's essentially started up a very successful tavern called the Titan's End, and it's one of the most popular bars in Mithros because he kind of milks the whole thing that he was with the heroes for a day and a half to try and bring in customers.
I mean,
But other than that,
plus, I
so
mean,
he's
go.
so he's essentially coasting off the slight fame he has, and it also advertises that it's the place where the heroes love to come and drink, so that he'll get more patrons.
I love this. I love this.
And to be fair, like he, because most of the people, like whoever, like who was still alive, was watching Kentame, that fight, and Geiner did like scale Kentame like an insane ass, like so. I can see that bar being pretty popular.
So yeah, so he hasn't. He's essentially retired. He has not done anything except for trying to run that bar and forget about what happened in the past with Lutheria and his time in being entrapped in the scythe.
Fair enough. Nicodemus, I wanna hear your story. I saw that RP this morning when I woke up. So let's hear what Nico's been up to the last few years.
Okay. After the Battle of Mitros, Nicodemus rebuilds his house with the help of his friends. He begins to rebuild the docks where he used to work. Geiner asks him to help build a new tavern, Titan's End. When it's finished, Nico attends Corbin and the Oracle's wedding. Nico gifts Corbin the Titan's Bane sword as a wedding present. Queen Valis holds a ceremony in celebration of the hero's triumph, and Nico is awarded honorary dockmaster of Mitros. He's also given a silver tankard that magically fills with beer. Little flavor there. It's around this time Nico hears good news from his wife Ursa that she's pregnant. Nico, in his pride, is hoping for a son. What's better is that Corbin tells him the Oracle is expecting too. So we got 2 pregnant wives. Nico goes to Corbin and takes Aziz with him. It's at this point Nico takes the oath of the Dragon Lords and bonds with the young dragon. Nico travels to Themis with Corbin in Arcadia. There he's awarded his family heirlooms from the Queen of the Amazons. He gets a ring of protection and a helm of brilliance, 2 amazing magical items that'll help him in his future adventures. When they return to Mitros, Corbin and Demetrius traveled to the steppes, and Nicodemus traveled to the steppes to help reunite the Centaur tribes. There they spend some time, for it's a monumental task. Eventually Corbin leaves, and Nico stays for a bit more to help Demetrius, but it doesn't take long before Nicodemus abruptly leaves and heads back to Mitros and his family. Throughout this time, Nico's powers advance and grow. He learns new spells, new ways of healing himself, Nico takes Dwarven Fortitude as a feat when he levels up. And when he returns to Mitros, he travels north to the Old Wood. And there he finds the Druid Order in shambles. Nico finds the young boy he met on the road from, what is that northern city?
Astoria.
Astoria. He meets the young boy that they met on the road from Astoria long ago, that he showed some druid cantrips there. And he was as lost as he was then. His mentor had been killed with many other druid elders in the Battle of Mitros, among other things. Nico takes him under his wing and promises to his training. It's then that Nico notices his vine tunic changes. Now this is like a cloak that he wears. The colors that were once green have turned red and orange, like a tree in the autumn. These changes show the growth and level of his class. Now Nico has an apprentice and a dragon to travel and adventure with. And this was written last night. Let me get to it. After Nico finds the boy, he questions him about the druids. The boy tells him after many of the druid elders fell in the Battle of Mitros, the remaining ones were all slaughtered by a woman in black. She and her army besieged the druid grove in the Old Wood and laid waste to their order. Hearing this enraged Nico, because he knew it could only be Demetria. It was her that the oracle foretold he must face off with someday. Nico and the boy built a makeshift camp, and he makes him promise to stay there until he returns. Nico wild shapes into a giant eagle and heads northeast to the Druid Grove. It's not long before he spots the camp. Circling it high in the sky, he notices the old trees were all cut down to erect a big fort. These trees were older than the ones used to build the Ultros. Again, Nico fumes with rage. Landing just outside the fort, about a quarter mile, Nico drops his form and calls forth 9th level spell Storm of Vengeance upon the fort. For 1 minute, he lets it pummel the fort and its residents. Nico conjures a fire elemental and wild shapes into a woolly mammoth and heads into the fort to finish off the rest of Demetria's troops. Demetria emerges from her quarters and begins to fight with Nico and his elemental. She gets a few good shots in and knocks him out of form. They then go toe-to-toe, slinging spells at each other in a great duel, the likes of which have never been seen, and probably will never be again because nobody was really alive then to see it. Nico conjures 2 polar bears to help in the fight, and then heals himself with a high-level heal spell. He goes back into the fight and tries to take her out with Feeble Mind, but the spell, she blows it off. She must be using legendary actions or even lair actions. As they each burn through spells, Nico's not sure he could take her, but he remembers his new helmet and plucks off some gems and throws them at Demetria, using fireball and such. These prove to be a godsend because it drops her to her knees, and then he lashes out with a sunbeam spell and burns a hole right through her head. The fight ended. Nico collapses and passes out for some time. When he comes to, the place is empty with signs of life. Nico searches the remaining building that's left standing. It's Demetria's quarters. On the ground under a rug is a trap door. Nico breaks through and drops down into a treasure hoard. Much of the druid's treasure and belongings are there, along with whatever Demetria had from before her coming there. One thing stands out in the back that Nico recognizes, a hide armor that used to belong to the druid archmage, the hide of the feral guardian, and this was taken from Explorer's Guide to Wildemont. Nico knows he's gone. So he climbs back up, puts the armor on, and closes the door the best he could. Now he needs somebody to guard and watch this place while he's gone. So he goes out to find a big tree and spends 8 hours to awaken it. He asks this awakened tree to watch over the building and the treasure that's underneath it until he promises to return soon. Nico then finds the boy later on, just where he left him. They then head to Mitros, to Nico's house and his family. On a brighter note, Nico did have a son, and he named him Apollo.
That was epic. Like I could just picture that like a little movie in my head too. Like druids, like high level druids are very overpowered. It's like, whew, Nico snapped.
Nice. I wondered about Demetria. I was wondering what happened to her. I guess she
I
has a
figured
big ass hole in her head.
Yeah, well, now she does. I figured I'd throw her back into the story,
Yeah,
just a little flavor there too.
which was pretty cool. That was epic. Let's go to Arcadia.
Oh boy. All right. Let me find it. It's a lot of scrolling. We did a lot of work. Sorry. I was reading along with Nico. It was great. After the battle with Kentamane, who both the Oracle and the Amazons believe did not die but will now lie dormant for 1,000 years to rest and recharge before returning, Arcadia speaks with the Oracle. The Oracle believes that Arcadia was always destined to become the Lady of Death, having dealt the killing blow to Lutheria, but she has a strong suspicion that Gravik currently holds the title of Lord. She cannot sense him whatsoever after he left. Arcadia then heads to Pythoria, a little city on the beach, to reunite with her mother Ophia and Ileana, and her life mate Ileana. They spend some time there before Arcadia is invited to Corbin's wedding. She brings her mother, who catches the bouquet, and Ophia, her mother, makes a point of thanking everyone for rescuing her and Ileana. Not after that, Arcadia, Ophia, and Ileana return to Themis, the home of the Amazons. Arcadia carefully observes Queen Darien and Moxina, as the last time she and the party saw them, Darien looked to Moxina as to what to do, and Moxina was the lady of the coins, the head of the Thieves Guild in Mitros, and Darien's lover, but Darien is the rightful queen. But the times she sees them together, it feels like Darien is the one in charge and Moxina is in the background. During this time, Pythor, the former, one of the five gods and the god of battle, and the person who sired Arcadia, he proposes to Ophia. And seeing how devoted he is to her mother, Arcadia's attitude towards him softens a bit. And Pythor and Ophia get married on Themis, but depart for Pythoria after having spent 6 months there. Also during this time, Ileana finds she doesn't really fit in with the Amazons anymore. The Amazons are of the original timeline, and remember we had 2 different timelines. And Ileana is the alternate Ileana, who started to have memories of the original timeline Ileana right before she was kidnapped by Hexia. Her memories continue to blend, and Arcadia tries to help her through it, but it is too much, and she decides to leave with Ophia and Pythor and return to Pythoria. Arcadia sadly offers to end the bond they have as life mates, and she accepts. It is clear that Arcadia has more experience with different types of enemies and creatures than the Amazons who have only lived on Themis, so she is promoted to the head of the tribe of the Kraken, which is the first line of defense of the island. They are also called the Sea Marauders. At this time, she is asked to train new army recruits in Mitros, but declines. About 6 months later, Nico, Corbin, the Oracle, and their baby daughter have special permission to come to Themis. When Arcadia sees her old comrades, they actually see a smile on her face. She is visibly touched that Corbin named his daughter Callista after her aunt, who was executed for resisting Lutheria, and she looks a little awkward but happy when Corbin hands the baby over to her to hold. The rest of the Amazons look at the 2 men with wariness, but relax somewhat when they see Arcadia interacting with them. They are quick to offer assistance to the Oracle with their baby and usher her off. Arcadia shows the men around where they see basilisks, where she had told them many moons ago that they use them as hounds there, as well as rhinos. And she uses she had been using a spectral rhino to ride on when they see them in their natural habitat there. And she introduces Nico to the druids of the island. They make Queen Darien, who presents Nico with his family heirlooms, a ring of protection and the helm of brilliance. Strangely, there seems to be little activity, as if the Amazons do not want to reveal much to strangers. But there is a feast, and there is alcohol, and the men see Arcadia drink for the first time since the first day they met at the Sour Vintage Country Inn. She looks relaxed, laughs freely, and is at ease among her people. The wall she always put up around her is not apparent here. Corbin entertains him with stories of our adventures, interrupted by Arcadia, who rolls her eyes as usual when he takes liberties with the truth. A year later, Queen Darien promotes Arcadia to High Commander of the Amazons, in charge of coordinating all the tribes in defense of the island. Sometime soon after that, Arcadia is again approached and asked to head the Queen's Guard for Queen Valis in Mitros. She politely hesitates, pretending to consider the request before declining again. She has little love for Valis and even less for Mitros. During her third year, during one of the war games the Amazons play with each other, someone manages to sneak up on her, a difficult feat indeed, and quote-unquote slits her throat, making it obvious if it were a real attack, she would be dead. Arcadia feels warm lips brush her ear as the person whispers, "Catch me if you can," then disappears into the darkness without a trace. At the beginning of her fifth year on Themis, Arcadia uses her sending stone to ask Queen Helen of Eresia if she and another representative of the Amazon kingdom might make a special trip to Eresia to observe and train there. She is granted permission, and she and her companion work with Halcyon, Grandmaster of the Shield, who was in charge of all of the Eresian troops there, the monks in the Temple of the Shadows, who originally rejected Arcadia for breathing too loud and who specialize in stealth, and Laertes, a monk who taught her the principles of stunning strike in secret. And in the Hanging Gardens, which are gorgeous and beautiful, when the druids have retired and no one else is around, Arcadia drops to one knee, takes her companion's hands in her own, and asks her something. Her companion lifts her to her feet and embraces her tightly, whispering in her ear, "I guess I've finally been caught," before they kiss. Chatting with Jocasta in the Red Lotus, they hear that there had been constant raids from the Centaur tribes over the last few years, led by their warlord and his ferocious dragon. But recently, there has been a non-aggression pact signed between the Centaurs and the Eresians. Learning this, the Amazons returned to Themis after having been in Eresia only a few months. Sailing back to Themis from Eresia, Arcadia was lost in thought. There was no satisfaction in learning her instinct to teach the Amazons specific fighting tactics against dragons, centaurs, and Ametrius in particular was justified. He had said enough times over their 3 months together that he would invade and attempt to dominate those who didn't agree with him. And she didn't trust he wouldn't decide the hag, who he called the queen, Guderian, and cowards, who he called the Amazons, when we fought against them to liberate Queen Darien. She didn't trust he wouldn't decide they needed to be conquered. A rueful snort escaped her as she remembered how she felt when she saw Gaius kill him at the Great Games, how she protected his belongings, and how she spent time with his body as it lay in the tent. She remembers how shocked she was to hear the whispered words, "I shall miss you, friend," escape her lips. That's why his betrayal of her cut so deep. But it was in keeping with his hubris. The gall he had in covertly bringing them to the island of the dragon and taking such an important decision out of her hands to fight Hexia, no matter the outcome, was something that could only be righted with an apology. And she knew he would never do that. Ametrius changed when he was resurrected, when he acquired the strange glow in his eyes. Perhaps the Ametrius she knew, the one who, against her best efforts, she actually liked, never came back to life after all. And a year later, back on Themis, there is a big celebration as Arcadia and Diana become mates. The next year passes uneventfully until about 3 or 4 months before the time we are gathering in our session today. She starts to have terrible recurring nightmares. And this happens a week ago in game time. She woke with a scream, "Diana!" Her mate quickly held her tight. The nightmare was a regular occurrence over the past few months, and Diana knew to hold Arcadia until she calmed down. She didn't want to think about its description, that Arcadia sees the rogue wizard Gravik leaning over Diana, hand pressed on the back of her head to hold her down, gesturing with his other hand as an invisible knife cuts down the sides of her spine, Diana screaming in agony as Arcadia watches, unable to move, as Gravik lifts her ribs away from her body and extracts her lungs, lungs that flutter as she takes her final breaths, a gruesome impersonation of Nyx taking flight. But this time was different. Arcadia, barely able to breathe, says two words, sour vintage. The day they both feared had come to pass. Arcadia was being called, or lured, to right a wrong that was committed 7 years ago, and in so doing, stop the evil that it spawned. And on her day when she leaves Themis, she is presented with an amulet of health to protect her by the Amazons, and she gives her ring of protection to her mate Diana, along with a sending stone, so they can remain in touch.
That was a brutal description of her death. Yikes.
Well, I have you to thank for telling me about this, that giving me that term. I'd never heard of it, and interestingly enough, the first things that come up when you Google Blood Eagle are all scholarly articles.
Mm-hmm.
I started with the Smithsonian Institution and went to Britannica, and there was things from universities. It was really interesting about Viking lore.
Yeah.
Maybe a premonition of our Norse adventures. Maybe
that's why I edited it in there. Who knows? You know me, I always like to add a little Easter eggs here and there. Let's go to Warlord Demetrius.
All right. Well, the first year after the death of Sidon and Kentimane, it was a time of joy and happiness in Demetrius' life. He had a romance with Valus. He was considered a hero of legend in Mitros, and he had his good friends by his side. He attended the wedding of Corbin, and he helped Corbin to reform the Dragon Lords, with Corbin as the Grand Master. And they write up a new code of ethics for the Dragon Lords that prevents them from taking sides in wars, and to make all races be considered equal by the Dragon Lords, to stop the mistakes from repeating themselves. Then he sails out with the Ultras with Nicodemus and Corbin to fulfill his old oath and slay the Lotus Witch. She was a witch that had cursed a bunch of centaurs, an entire island full, to transform into scorpions unless they had a rider with them. So if someone rode on their back, they could prevent being transformed. And he killed her and together with Nico and Corbin, and freed them from that curse. But all this time he could not help but turn his gaze north to the vast steppes of his homeland, where his people struggled under Sidon's old lieutenants. Though the Centaur and Sidon were beaten, they all retreated back to the steppes, but the old people in charge of the Centaur that Sidon put there were still leading many of the tribes, and they were warring with each other, and it wasn't going well for the Centaur. And Demetrius could not find peace in Mitros, not as long as the Centaur needed him. So together with Nicodemus and Corbin, he sailed to the steppes with the Ultras, and they began freeing their people from Sidon's grasp. They used their magic and their diplomacy to convince several tribes to join them willingly, eager to be free from their old master's tyranny. Together, the three of them were unstoppable, but that would not last. The Dragon Lords needed their Grand Master, and the Oracle needed Corbin by her side. So Corbin returned to Mitros, and only Demetrius and Nicodemus remained. They labored together to see the steppes united, but the Centaur people are prideful and stubborn. Many would refuse to abandon their faith in Sidon, not without violence. The Centaurs, they come from a warrior culture, like the ancient Mongols or like the Klingons from Star Trek. And words will only take you so far with them. And Demetrius understood this, and he felt he was forced to turn to bloodshed if he wanted to unite his people, because he knew they would not listen to anything else. But Nicodemus was not a centaur, and he was a druid, and violence was not his way. So he returned to Mitros and eventually the Old Wood. With no one to keep him in check, Amitrius begins waging a bloody campaign across the steppes. Word reaches Mitros and beyond of a new high chieftain of the Centaur, with a mighty black dragon that is bringing them all under a unified rule by force. Any hostile army or tribe that stands against him is attacked and forced to join his side. All of Sidon's lieutenants are brutally slain and they are quartered, which is a practice where the centaurs bind the wrists and ankles of the guilty party, and then they run in opposite directions and pull them into 4 pieces. It's quite brutal. It would be some years before the civilized world saw Amitrius again. His campaign was a success and he managed to unite the centaur tribes. Unfortunately, a unified centaur presented a bigger threat to Mitros than a divided one. So several fearful politicians convinced Corbin that Amitrius had gone insane and needed to be stopped. Corbin gathered his dragonlords and flew out to slay Amitrius. But when they met, he was surprised to find that Amitrius was willing to talk to him and reason with him. They argued and eventually managed to settle their dispute. Amitrius would remain a dragonlord, but he would have to promise that he would not allow Astrea to be any part of the Centaur War anymore, because Corbin feels it's not a dragon's place to be waging war, and it goes against the code. And as the Grand Master, Amitrius listens to Corbin and agrees, and he does not let Astrea fight in these wars anymore. But now that his people are unified, Amitrius is also quite a few years older, and he realized that more war wouldn't help his people. It was merely ensuring their eventual demise. So he created a unified law for the Centaur. He does away with their more barbaric practices, such as the quartering, and he makes safe the dangerous rites of adulthood that Centaur children have to go through, like they have to go into the wild and kill an animal with their bare hands by crafting a spear, and it pretty much based on the Spartans. Then he had stone temples of his god, the divine stallion, erected across the land. And these were the first buildings of the nomadic centaur that were ever created, because they do not normally build. And they also established an embassy in Mitros for official diplomatic relations and trade between their people. But his change of heart and ending the raiding and establishing new traditions does not fall well with all of the centaurs. His people's opinion about him is divided. Many centaurs proclaim him as an avatar of their god, the divine stallion, and think his actions are guided by the divine will of their progenitor. But the others, they see him as a bloodthirsty despot like Sidon, or a weakling who's doing away with all that would make the centaur a great people. But despite these troubles, he managed to stabilize their civilization, and he even steps down from his role as high chieftain, no longer wanting to be in the command of his people. Instead, each tribe is now led by its own chieftain. Their borders and laws are clearly defined, and the centaur leaders, they come together every 2 years in a massive festival. There they settle disputes and vote on decisions, and they celebrate their civilization to prevent further wars from occurring between them. As for Amitrius, he started to sail the land as a champion and adventurer, dealing with monsters and threats beyond the scope of guards and soldiers. He was seeking out old places in the library, wanting to discover lore on the Dragonlords, and specifically the magic that binds their oath. His goal is to make sure that Astrea survives, even if he were to die. But in his quest, he comes upon a magic that allows him to purify the taint from his soul that was left there by the dark forces that brought him back to life once. And I reflected that in-game by abandoning my 1 level in the water and going into a full paladin. So he discovered an ancient ritual, and after all of that, he decides it is time to settle down, and so he's going. He makes his way to reunite with Queen Valis and his old friends in Mitros. He just needs to make a quick stop on the way. And that was it.
A quick stop. Interesting.
A quick stop. just a feeling he had.
And last but not least, Corbin Reborn.
All right. Immediately after the final battle, Corbin finds the Oracle, and she is safe in a shelter.
That's
He
new
begs her
Corbin.
forgiveness for killing her father Sidon, and she says it had to be done to restore the peace. She believes everything, the quest is ended and everything is fine, and she forgives him. So, in great happiness, he proposes to her on the spot, and she accepts, but she says several things must be done first. First, she is not very happy with his new armor that he worships as Sam. So she demands that he get rid of that, and she also says, and after that, I have another surprise for you, my love. And so Corbin tries to take off the armor and realizes he cannot willingly remove the armor. So he goes to Demetrius and Nicodemus to help him remove the armor, which he now knows is cursed. Even though Sam was always pretty good to him, so he still kind of likes him. And he tells him that he is getting married to the Oracle. So they combine getting rid of Sam with an epic bachelor party, which they go around to all the great bars of the city and cause much havoc and debauchery. They blame any bad things that happen on Sam because that they're trying to get rid of Sam during this time as well. And eventually Sam is removed. Then Corbin is met by a strange individual who's just come to town known as the Moth. He seems to have taken over some of the Footmaster's old businesses, Fargrim's, and the Oracle is there too. So apparently, the Oracle and the Moth had made an agreement long ago, which put Corbin into this body of a gnome, who is a far traveler to the city that the Moth had sent to the city, but he was dying on a ship, and to save him, Corbin's spirit was transferred into the gnome, and Corbin was allowed to rest and recuperate his body while the gnome has done the quest. So they combined powers, restore Corbin to his original human form. He is a magnificently large, strong man now, who looks like Lou Ferrigno somehow. And the Oracle says, "I did not fully trust you to commit to marriage, but now that we are to be wed, you must be your old self." So Corbin is very happy to be back to the Corbin of old. Meanwhile, poor Mr. Ossity, the gnome, wakes up in a strange town with an odd tattoo on his body, which now Corbin doesn't have. And suddenly the whole city thinks he is a great hero and treats him extremely well. So, he's very confused with no memory and the strange tattoo, but it is a very friendly town. So he goes on to write his great travel guide, Traveling with Ossity, the story of the roaming gnome, and he becomes quite famous and sells many copies of that. Then there's the wedding with Corbin and the Oracle, which all attend. The bouquet is thrown straight at Arcadia, but she dodges away from it and is caught by her mother. But the Oracle giggles to Corbin and says, "Ha! She cannot dodge her fate so easily. She will see." And then after the wedding, the city is being rebuilt. Great statues are erected, but to Corbin's horror, they are statues of the gnome version of Corbin because the city is still quite confused, even though they've all been told that Corbin was restored to his original body. Demetrius has a great laugh about this and helps the city still believe that the old Corbin died and was really a great hero. This makes the new Corbin very sad because he has spent all his time in the gnome body telling everyone he was the great old Corbin, the hero, and no one believed him. And now he's back to the great old Corbin, the hero, and now everybody believes the gnome Corbin is the hero. So he spends all his days trying to convince everybody that that is the case. Then Corbin and Demetrius reform the Dragon Lords during this time. The Oracle and Nico's wife both become pregnant during this time. Vengeance gathers a great horde and sets it up on the mountain where she forms her own lair, starts to form her own lair. She continues to train with Corbin, and she constantly having to fend off the attention of that silly boy dragon that she met during the battle for Mitros. He is, such a silly boy dragon and quite annoying, but sometimes he's okay, especially when he brings nice gold gifts for her hoard to be built larger. Um, then one day, Nico comes to Corbin, and they decide, since the women folk are preoccupied with being pregnant, that it is time to go on an adventure. And they join Ametreus to go defeat the Lotus Witch. They accomplish this task while they're off with Ametreus doing their adventures. I think some word of this might get to Arcadia around this time, and she just shakes her head at the crazy menfolk leaving the women alone. Um, then eventually, after the Lotus Witch is defeated, Corbin returns, but Nico and Ametreus go on to try and unite the Centaur tribes. Uh, Not long after that, Nico returns and doesn't really say a whole lot about his adventures with Demetrius. Corbin's daughter, Castilla, is born. She is named after Arcadia's aunt, uh, and Nico's boy Apollo is born. And around that time, they go visit Arcadia, and she seems a little changed. Seems much happier and nicer. And this is when Nico gets his gifts. And then they return to Mitros. This time, Corbin is making amends with his great grandnephew Gaius. They have a lot of fun adventures and get to know each other quite well. And during this time, word starts to filter back to the city of Ametreus, the warlord, doing terrible things. Corbin refuses to believe that his friend could do such terrible atrocities, and he figures it's just the old story where Ametreus can't get along with any shopkeeper he ever met, and they're probably just spreading bad rumors about him. Alas, some time passes and word comes again, and the city elders come to Corbin and say, Demetrius is just slaughtering people in the steppes, and he's even killed a child. There's some rumors of that. So Corbin, with a heavy heart, forms the Dragon Lords and says, especially because word had come that he's using his dragon to do these things. He says, if Ametreus wants to fight a war, he can do it himself. He cannot pretend to be a dragon lord and slaughter his people. So he flies off to confront Ametreus. He finds him and lands in a clearing with thousands of Ametreus's centaurs, and the dragon lords are squared off. There is Western music, and it appears to be a standoff where if anybody blinks, it could be the end. But him and Demetrius meet in the center of the battle and decide to go off and talk it out. They go off and come back sometime later. No one's exactly sure what was said during this time. They both have a lot of bruises on them and black eyes. But in the end, Demetrius agrees not to involve dragons in any kind of crusades, and they've reached at least some kind of understanding. So Corbin returns to Mitros with the Dragon Lords, and lets the city know that the Dragon Lords are not involved in this, and Ametreus is the leader of the Centaur tribes, but no atrocities will be committed with dragons or on part of the Dragon Lords, so the city can rest in peace. Not long after this, Corbin also creates a series of shrines to be put up in every Dragon Lord outpost. These are to remind the Dragon Lords, not to be like the Dragon Lords of old and conduct crusades and slaughter, and bend people to their will. They're there to help the people. So these shrines depict a mighty Dragon Lord with his foot on top of a poor peasant, and they are to be insulted when everyone sees them, and then a gift is to be left for victims of war. This is to teach the Dragon Lords humility and to make sure that they do not go off the rails. Many people say, on looking at this shrine, that the face of the Dragon Lord resembles Demetrius, and that the poor peasant, if you look at it just right, appears to be a small child being crushed under his foot. But when you look at it closely, these similarities go away, and they cannot really tell. And Corbin completely denies that this was ever the case. Perhaps it was the city elders that put kind of spell on this. Corbin always tells everyone that only a guilty dragon lord would see himself in the shrine. That the shrine is just there to teach them about the past and not to repeat these mistakes. Then later on, Corbin starts having terrible dreams, similar to what the others have described. All his loved ones, even his child, splayed open and killed at some inn. It looks like the inn where they first met. This disturbs Corbin greatly. I think he maybe gets these dreams a little earlier than the others. So he goes to the scribes of the city and says, What can these mean, O wise scribes of Mitros? And an unnamed scribe says, Dreams are just a warning to the wise men, Corbin. And it is recorded in the annals of Corbin that he replies to the scribe, So, you're telling me I must beat Gravik to death with a giant axe? And then, shortly after that, he gathers up Gaius and goes on a mighty quest. And he goes far to the north and discovers a giant axe that is beyond the use of regular men. He has to use his special powers to grow into a giant, even to lift the axe. He lifts it and stores it in a bag of holding so he can carry it, and he returns to the city. During this time back from the city, he does many secretive things and has many meetings with the oracle and the scribes of the city, and he shares what he's doing with almost anyone, but every once in a while you can see him in the arena in his giant form in a full plate mail that is gleaming and is clearly special plate mail, and he has this huge axe that he's practicing with constantly in the arena, and he is just obliterating statues of Gravik. Then, after months and months have passed, and the dreams just will not stop, Corbin goes to his friend Nico in the city and tells him, I am having these dreams, and Gravik is slaying my family at the inn where we first met. And Nico looks at him very strangely and says, I too have had these dreams. And so they decide they must go to the inn to investigate and put an end to this. They attempt to contact their friends, but poor Gunnar is drunk behind the bar and unresponsive, and they cannot get a hold of the others, so they decide to leave on their own and get there. And that's where Corbin's story is.
Very nice. I like them all. That deserves this.
I love the bit with him crushing statues in the arena. That is so metal. It's like, how does he get the statues? He has to go to like the statue shop. He orders 1,000 statues and just crushes them every day.
Yeah.
He's just like spending 100,000 gold a year on crushing these statues.
Yeah. Oh, and he has actually spent nearly all the gold that he amassed during the travel, and almost all the gold he's earned since. He even borrowed some of Vengeance's gold, and shockingly, Vengeance allowed him to do this. So, so Corbin has spent a lot of money on things that we may not know about.
Poor Gravik. Gravik's just like probably chilling somewhere in like the underworld, just like, or wherever he ended up, just chilling, and people now he lives rent free in everyone's head. It's very emo with the statues. I love it. Gravik is now at 100% hate from all of us. Oh, that's not nice.
It's accurate though, except Geiner. Geiner doesn't know Gravik. Doesn't care about him.
Well, he met Gravik.
He did. Yeah, I mean in battle, yeah.
Very briefly.
Briefly. Oh, he's that wizard that I punched out.
Yeah, it's like, what was the trouble with him?
What was his deal? I knocked him out. What's the problem?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Alright. But, so with all great adventurers, they always start in a tavern for the most part. Cool. So, I meant to ask Corbin and Nico, I'm assuming you're bringing your dragons, you're flying your dragons here?
Oh, absolutely.
Alright,
yes.
cool. Perfect. So, all right. So the two of yous land the bar. It's a tavern. It's a hole in the wall. And as the two of yous walk in, you see that it's fairly. There's what 10 people in here, plus the bartender, and you see a big ass centaur who you recognize as Electrion, who is Amitrius's brother. And he says, "Why are you here? Why are you two here?"
Ooh, he's handsome.
Oops, let me turn that
We've
down.
had some bad visions, Electron, involving this place. Why are you here?
I have also had these visions, and I knew I had to come here. And you see, he's dressed in like for what can be construed as like scholar robes. Like he's doesn't have he has a sword, but he's very scholarly, if you will.
That's very unlike him, isn't it?
You haven't seen him in some time. But last time you saw him, I believe he was like a drunk, like worse than Demetrius.
Yeah, Demetrius not threw him off, but he departed from the Ultros.
He's like,
But
I can't
Demetrius
deal with
did
this.
give him 1,000 gold and a magic item.
He's like, Demetrius is like, I can't deal with you anymore. Get off my ship.
He had a heart-to-heart talk. He asked his brother what he wanted to do, that he'll do anything for his brother, and then his brother wanted to leave. It was like that. It wasn't like, you're useless, I'm kicking you off.
I can see you doing that, though.
Tough love.
Tough love.
So, Nico looks at Electrion and he's, "What? That doesn't... You don't look the same. You look better."
Ah! Yes, thank you. When my brother unceremoniously kicked me off the Ultros, that was probably the best thing that could have happened for me. I was not in the best state of mind after I found out he killed our father. But I'm doing very, very well now. These scholars in Mitros, they took me in, and now I have risen up the ranks. But I kept having these recurring dreams or nightmares that I needed to come here, as I seen my brother being slain and like taken by his hooves and spread, and then they desiccating his body. So I needed to come. How is my brother, by the way?
Yeah, we have not seen him in nigh upon a year or more. At least I haven't. I think Corbin here has seen him.
Yes,
Wait,
This is new Corbin.
You're Corbin? Whoa! And he looks you up and down and stares at all the muscles, and he looks at the thighs, and his eyes grow wide because like his thighs are like bigger in his head.
He drank a growing potion.
You grew up.
I was
Oh,
restored.
he has thighs like Lee Haney, if you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
Yes. My study of the ancient runes has helped me grow large.
I had heard.
He is very tall. He's almost 7 foot tall.
So you kind of like Alan Rich in a way.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wow, it's good to see that you've grown. I heard rumors, but being stuck down in the basements all the time in the library, I don't get out much. But damn, you look good. And I hear you have a son."
Yes, a daughter. I have a daughter. Nico has the son.
I have the son.
And he looks at the two of you. He's like, "Oh." He's like, "So is there a was it a betrothment coming?"
That is far too early to think of such things.
Ah, yes, humans. I forgot. Humans and dwarves don't do what the centaurs do. That makes sense, but,
And I look at him carefully, and if there's an alcoholic beverage near him, I slide it away.
there is not. And he's holding a glass, but as he drinks, he does not seem to be drunk at all. He's like, well, is any of the others coming? I know last time I heard about Geiner that he started his bar, and now he's what's the word? Don't drink your own product.
Yeah, we weren't able to contact any of the others. But me and Nico have had this dream for some time now, and we thought compelled to come and look at it.
Well, maybe we can sit here and try to figure it out.
I want to look around. I want to explore the entire inn. Is there like a basement or anything?
Yes. And in the base,
I will go start exploring the inn.
And Nico says to Corbin, "No stealing bottles of wine."
That was the old Corbin. And I'll probably steal a bottle of wine one day.
Probably. Yeah, when you go down in the basement, it's just a storage for the booze.
Do I notice any signs of what I think should be there?
I'm not sure what you think should be there, but no. And is Nico just sitting up here talking to Electrion, or is what she's doing?
Yeah, for the most part, he's just gonna sip on a beer and speak with him about. He's like, what was the last time you seen Demetrius?
The day he kicked me off the Ultros.
That's yes. Have you heard any of the rumors of him?
Well, rumors. Yeah, I hear the rumors, but I don't. I hear it. He's become a warlord.
He has, but Corbin here talked some sense into him, and he's most likely chilled out a bit. I have not seen him in quite a long time, but Corbin here did manage to talk some sense into him, and he calmed down and actually changed some of the Centaur rules. You probably find these a lot better, that the children do not have to go through such grueling ceremonies anymore.
Oh, he doesn't force people out, and the strong survive.
No, apparently not, which makes me a lot happier, because I was very disappointed in the person he became, but I sense from what I heard some good things in him.
Interesting. Well, hopefully he'll come, but he's probably too busy doing other things. I hear he sired a kid with a Titan.
Corbin returns from the cellar, and some bottles may be clinking in his bag, but he pays no attention to it, and he says, "Demetrius has a child with a Titan?"
Yes, apparently during the Great Game several years ago, he laid with a Titan and she got pregnant.
Oh no!
Those are rumors, But could you imagine the size of that kid? Oh, big ass horse,
and a huge head.
I hope he doesn't have a tiny horse body and a large head. That would be bad.
That would be horrible. And
reverse centaur.
and Reaper's. Oh god. A horse head and oh god.
Oh, Jesus.
I can see it. I can see it.
I heard there are bordens like that sometimes, but they're not welcome.
I can see it too.
At this point, you see Arcadia walk in. She looks around, and well, of course, she looks 7 years older. Her armor is more ornate than the last time you saw it. It is polished. She looks like a commander. She does look like she's in charge. And she walks in and sees the two of you, and her expression is serious. You're afraid she might be the same Arcadia you remember her from 7 years ago, but she walks up to you with a slight smile and extends her hand to Corbin and says, "It's going to take me a while to get used to seeing you like this."
Yes, everyone is so much shorter now. As he looks down and shakes her hand.
You see
And
Nico.
she,
Oh, look who made it here.
and she walks over and shakes his hand and says, "It's good to see you, Nico."
An actual handshake, too.
I feel that I'm out of practice with the bow.
She says, "Oh, we can work on that, but will you be using it much?" Do you have a normal you have a normal weapons on you, right? Like what do you have? Because the giant axe is in the.
You see that he's got Titan's Bane strapped to his side. He's wearing full adamantium plate armor, which he's never worn armor before, or much armor before, but he's fully clad in mail now. And in his, if you look very carefully in his bag of holding, you see a giant axe head, like a ridiculously large axe head poking out of the back.
And she says, "I guess you won't be sneaking anywhere."
I was never very good at sneaking anyway. Plus, I'm so large and clumsy now.
And then she gets really serious and she says, "Have you been having the dreams too?"
Yes. This is why I have acquired this new axe. I had a dream that I could smash Gravik to pieces with it.
Nico says, "Yes, that's why we're here. The dreams." And he points over to his left side and look who else has come here having dreams too.
And she finally takes notices and she looks and you see her look and she sees a centaur and she's like, and then she takes a closer look and she goes, "Electrion, is that you?"
Yes, Arcadia. Nice to see you again.
Says, "Good to see you." And
He sounds different when he's not slurring his words.
He's like, that is old me.
then she says, "You two have been having these dreams?"
I have of my dear brother being splayed and slaughtered everywhere. To be completely honest, I'm surprised he's lived this long. Have you heard from him at all?
And she says, "No, all I've heard is that he was raiding the Arisia, and came to some sort of a truce."
Yes, you need not worry about him anymore, Arcadia. I think.
Why is he dead?
I think he has seen the light.
The light of Sam? No. Well, if it's my brother's destiny to die on the battlefield like a centaur, like a stubborn centaur, then it is what it is. And about this time, you see Arcadia. You've seen this guy before. You can't really quite put your finger to it, but what does this boy look like, Scotty?
He has blonde, like bronze blonde hair that he has cropped short. He has a slight. He's a young man, so his beard isn't completely growing in, but it's a very wispy, thin beard. He's dressed in very fine, noble yellow robes with hints of blue, and his skin seems to have like a slight bronze sheen to it, like maybe almost a little scaly in some areas, and he's definitely has an air of nobility to him, maybe even a little bit of arrogance as he steps in and he takes a look around. And he seems confused at first as he looks over the patrons of the bar, but once he notices Arcadia, a smile kind of goes across his lips quite wide. He's like, "Auntie, I did not know you were here."
And she searches her head and can't recall his name. But she says yes, because she recalls him introducing himself to her in Pythoria before she left for Themis. So this was right after the battle. And
he would have been quite young at that time, probably only like a young teen.
Yeah, but about her same age, interestingly enough, right? Because he's her nephew, but they're about the same age.
He's probably a little younger.
Okay, he's a little younger. And so
you have family, Arcadia?
Awkward!
Didn't know.
And she says, with Pythor, I probably have family everywhere.
Yes.
Remember the guy we met at, when we went to see the Four Winds? There was, it was one of her brothers, like that guy. So she.
You can't have a good Greek epic without bastard kids everywhere.
Yeah, so she nods at him, and so she nods at the kid.
He's going to walk up to Arcadia and give her a hug.
No, he doesn't. She starts to put her hand up as if a natural, reaction, and then she lets him hug her.
He gives her a very awkward hug on Arcadia's part, but he seems quite genuine when he gives her a hug. It's been years, hasn't it? But I could still recognize you. Do you remember me? I was only young when we last saw each other.
Corbin narrows his eyes and looks at Arcadia. He's not sure that she's the same Arcadia anymore. I want to do an insight check.
She says, yes, you were going to help rebuild Mitros.
Yes, that was part of it, but I ended up I decided to
definitely not
indulge myself in my studies to eventually be a hero just like you. And he's gonna look around and doesn't recognize Corbin since he's changed quite a bit, but he does recognize Nicodemus. Oh, you must be Nicodemus, and he's gonna look over at Electrion and just that you must be Demetrius.
Me? Do I look that ugly, weakling?
No, but he's got to look among the group again. You're the only centaur. I assume this was some kind of union.
And he says, not all centaur look alike, okay?
No, of course not.
So graphic. That is cool, dude. That's not cool.
Oh, you walked into that one, didn't you?
I think we need a content alert here.
I didn't mean any disrespect. Just you were the only centaur here, and there's the group of the heroes, but I don't recognize. Are you? Who? He's gonna raise an eyebrow at Corbin. I suppose I only assumed this was a reunion of the heroes, but I guess there's only two of you here.
Why are you here?
I got a letter a letter telling me to come here. I assumed it was for this. He's gonna gesture to the group.
A letter
Arcadia
from whom?
says, "May I see the letter?"
And he's he'll nod and pull it out from his robe and hand it to Arcadia. It was addressed by Eco, or so I didn't recognize the name. When I saw you, I thought it may have just been a jest or something. Didn't want me to know that it was you that sent the invitation.
She reads it. Ooh, what does it say? And does she know the name of the person who sent it? Or what does it say?
It's you can roll. It is from Echo. Is the name EKOH?
Okay.
It's spelled like that. It's urging urging Tess. I'm gonna call you Tescalion. I don't know, Tescalin. Tascalin, like mescaline, but Tascalin. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Urging him to meet me. It says urges Tascalin to meet me at the Sour Vintage at this day and at this time. It involves life and death with the heroes he so idolizes.
Meaning that Tascalin idolizes as opposed to Echo.
Correct. The heroes that Tascalin idolizes.
All right, and she hands it back to him and says, "Does anybody here know a person named Echo?"
Didn't we meet him once on the road?
You can roll a history check besides Tescalin. The three of you can roll a history check, DC of 20.
Well, it's not in my not in my notes, but let's do this. What are we doing? I'm sorry. What are we? A history
Yes, a history DC of 20.
in the tower.
Despite being very old, Corbin has all.
Open is fine. And Tescalin already rolled his last night, so that's why he's not doing it now. Nope, you have no idea who this person is.
None of us are historians.
So, where the centaur over there isn't Demetrius? Where is he and Corbin?
I'm Corbin.
He's gonna look at Corbin Reborn and raise an eyebrow. Really? Your statues don't do you any favors.
I've changed since the battle.
I see.
This is my original form.
He's gonna put a cup his chin and inspect Corbin. Illusionary magic?
That was the old Corbin. And I'll slap my giant muscled chest. This is real.
He's gonna nod his head and then lean into Arcadia. Is he quite self-conscious?
She looks at him with a puzzled look. Self-conscious?
Well, yes, of his height. I obviously must be using some form of illusionary magic.
Oh, she says no. This is actually his original form, the Oracle. This is the original Corbin.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps you should hire some artists to redesign your statues. Your new physique would definitely be more imposing.
And Electran pipes in really quick. It whispers to Nico, I think the Oracle wanted a big man instead of a little gnome.
True.
And
Savage.
Arcadia would say what is impressive is that Corbin, in his small gnome body, was able to do the feats he did.
Kind
And
of racist
so-
against gnomes.
It was very difficult to overcome that challenge, I can tell you.
Even a gnome, huh? So we like that.
And
Oh,
she
so-
actually says, you should have seen him, this tiny little 3-foot person, gnome, throwing people around like it was nothing.
Yes, that's what made his story so impressive, but now it's kind of dwindled a little now at his new stature. But since you're all here, where's Demetrius?
And she says, nephew, you have much to learn in being tactful.
He was busy with his tribe last I saw him.
Probably,
Yes.
probably
I
still
was
slaughtering
I was
people.
unable to contact him.
Probably still slaughtering people.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. It's thankfully not many scholars are keeping up with that. It might sully the hero's story.
And so during this whole time, there's you hear like in the background, there's customers here, and they're all chittering and chattering, and then everything just goes silent.
And
Around.
a centaur wearing a hood and a cloak to hide his features walk in, but you immediately know it's Demetrius because he's not very good at disguising himself. And once he enters, he pulls down his hood, and he now has a long hair and a long beard, and his brown blonde hair is starting to gray. He has a gray streak through his hair and his beard, and he looks around the tavern and spots the party.
Corbin will walk over to him.
All the patrons kind of like move out of the way.
He'll extend his arm to him and clasp forearms and he say, Demetrius, you son of a beach.
And Demetrius begins pushing hard against Corbin, and he will say, he will try to be strong on Corbin and push his arm down, and he'll say, "What's the matter, Corbin? Dragon Lord's got you pushing too many pencils."
Gotta roll this one. Oh,
And you will see Arcadia roll her eyes in the background as usual.
Corbin releases Demetrius and says, "Okay."
And he will walk up to Corbin and pat him on the shoulder and say, "It's good to see you again, old friend. Glad to see you doing well."
Yes, I hope you've kept the promise you made to me last time we met.
And I've done more than that. You'll be quite impressed.
Why are you here? Have you had the dream?
Ah, so you've had it too. And he will look past Corbin. And he will walk past them and say, "My old friends, it's good to see you again." And he will walk over to Arcadia. And he will be a lot more friendly with her. He will be like from that doesn't suit him or their connection. He will try to pat her on the shoulder and say, "It's good to see you again, old friend."
You broke up, Dan, right when you said something. He walks over to her and something?
And yeah, he will act a lot more familiar and friendly than their bond or their relationship would suggest, and try to pat her on the shoulder and be like, "It's good to see you again, Arcadia. You're looking good in your old age," he says playfully.
You see her kind of eye him, and she looks at him and says, "I think I'm wearing it better than you."
And he will laugh at what she says, and then turn to his brother, and he will suddenly his face turns stern and angry, and he walks up to his brother in an aggressive way, and he will stand face to face with his brother as if a fight is about to break out, and saying nothing. And then suddenly he puts his arms around his brother and he says, "Electrion, brother, it's good to see you again. I'm so glad that you're doing well."
And when you go to hug him, you feel he is completely tense, ready. And then when you hug him, you feel him like release that tension and hug you back.
Says, I was worried about you. I tried to send word, but I could not find you.
You old bastard, you look good.
Thank you. So do you. Who gave you that handsome face?
Our father. And I thank you for unceremoniously kicking me off the Ultras that some time ago. With that for you, I would not be here today. So thank you.
I went through the same thing, brother. Before we met, I was also a drunk, and I acted with experience. I knew how strong you were, and that you would come out better. And he looks at Nico, and then Amitrius averts his eyes, which is something he never does, like in a guilty manner, and he just gives Nico a quick nod and says, "Good to see you, Nico."
Demetrius?
And then he will go over back to this side and say, "Corbin told me about a dream. I've been having it as well."
Do we sense tension between Nico and Amitrius?
Definitely.
A little.
Interesting.
Corbin looks between them, kind of gives a little bit of a nod.
So what did you all dream? Did you all see Gravik here at the Sour Vintage?
On hearing the name Gravik, Corbin smashes his cup.
Electrion spits on the ground.
And Amitrius, he seems less aggressive. He seems less tense, older, kinder, and you see a book on his hip that he seems to have been reading, which is odd. And it's Roman with Gnomes or whatever the book was called by Odyssey.
What language is it in?
It's in
Gnomish.
common. It's a no. Oh, okay, if it's a Gnomish, you wouldn't read it, but if it's common,
it's in common. It's been translated. There's translation versions.
This is translated edition.
When Nico sees the book, his eyebrows raise, and he's very surprised looking at Demetrius carrying a book.
Well, and then Arcadia would note that it's in common because she knows that at the time when she knew him, he could only read Sylvan.
That's correct.
Amitrius can read?
But she would say...
That has yet to be seen.
Gravik was in... My dream was of him in front of this building, killing everyone I loved in a terrible way.
Same here. There were my loved ones used, being slaughtered, given the Blood Eagle, a most terrible, torturous death.
I saw you, brother, getting dismembered and quartered, and then Blood Eagled with just the body.
I saw something the same, but with my dragon. Whatever Cola's here, it's clear that all of us, have an old score to settle. Something that we left undone, and that has come back to haunt the world, and namely us.
And the sus boy standing next to you.
Yeah, I'll turn to him, and only just noticing him now for the first time, I'll say, and who's this?
I am Tasculin Galanius, and he's gonna bow slightly to Amitrius, and I assume that you must be Amitrius.
That's right, and you feel a strange sensation that is familiar to the other party members, but perhaps not to you when you stand close by Amitrius. You feel as if you're having the most healthy day in your life. You feel stronger, sturdier. You feel like you're protected against magic. And he'll say, "What brings you here, Daskalin?"
I received a letter asking me to come here. I originally thought it was from my aunt in Arcadia, but apparently she knows nothing of it. That's perplexing, but perhaps you would know something about this. And he's gonna pull out the letter and hand it to Demetrius.
And he will take it and read it over and raise his eyebrow and says, I don't know any Echo, but a fan of the heroes, are you?
Yes, you could say that. I've idolized you for quite some time. I've actually devoted my life to eventually filling in for you once you, of course, retire or, God's forbid, pass away from old age.
Demetrius laughs and he says, "Filling in for me? You?"
I have talents, not quite as barbaric as yours, but mine can be just as formidable.
And usually this would be the point where Demetrius roasts him, but instead he eyes him over and he says, good luck with that, kid. Who knows? He could probably pull it off.
I thank you for the words of confidence.
So, do you know any magic?
Of course, that's my specialty. I am a sorcerer.
Really? Can you use your magic to perhaps have a look around, see what brought this dream on us, or maybe on this letter?
I could try and cast detect magic, see if I could detect anything that might be afflicting you or the others. Something magical curse, perhaps.
Demetrius shrugs a shoulder, says, "Go ahead."
Okay, he will cast. Let's see, detect magic level 1. See if he can. See if he detects anything.
If he detects any magic?
Yeah, like see if there's anything like magical essence lingering to any of them.
From everybody you get, except for Electrion. Everyone except for Electrion, you get magic. Just like, yeah, ding, ding, ding.
That's a part of them, I guess. Something that's clinging to them. That's not like their natural magical essence.
Yes.
Huh. Does he detect it as anything, like a black wisp or anything coming off of them, or?
You get a faint glow coming from all of them, except for Electrion.
I am detecting something, but your potent magical essence as it is makes it hard to detect, but there is something attached to you that isn't of your nature.
Perhaps the work of that bastard Gravik.
I think more likely it was when we absorbed the 5 gods, some of them.
Oh yeah.
New Gravik,
And
that is the school of magic that you detect from them.
Arcadia would ask him, is it evil magic?
It's more divine than anything. Like, from what I can determine.
And Demetrius sighs and he raises his hand to the tavern keeper and says, "Ales!" and puts aside a chair and he will lower himself down onto his, well, you know what horses do, and sit before the table. "And can we get some food in here?"
What kind of food would you like? Do you need a menu? Do you need a menu?
No. Just set the table with meat, fruit, whatever. The best you have. My treat.
And the barkeep says, any allergies that I need to be known of? And Electrian says, I'm vegan.
Demetrius gives him a weird look.
All right. And he says, "Do you want
to that island with the elves?"
He says, "Would you like a flight of ale and a flight of wine, or just certain ones?"
Why do I have to answer so many questions? Just bring your best ale and your best food, and you decide the rest. Anything is fine.
All right. And they come out with salted fish and bread for all of you except for Electron. They bring him a spinach pie, and they hold up a bottle of red wine and says, "This goes well. This pairs well with the salted fish. This is our dark rust." And then they
Sounds good.
And then after you've done with that, then they bring beef stew with noodles, and bring a bottle of white wine and says, "This is the Heartland Classic that pairs well with this."
White wine with a beef stew?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, I know. It's the sour. It's called the sour vintage for a reason.
That's quite sour. Hey, Corbin, wasn't this where you kicked my ass when we met?
Yeah, we made a lot of money off of that fight, as I recall.
I still haven't forgiven you for that one.
Meanwhile, as the terrible wine comes out, Corbin slips out a nice bottle of red that he got from the basement and starts drinking that.
And you notice the label says Pythor's Cheer on it.
Nico tips his glass over to Corbin.
And I share a little bit with Nico.
And strangely enough, you see Arcadia give him a look, and she passes her glass over, which Demetrius, this would be the first time you've seen her drink. They saw her drink a little bit during the feast on Themis, but this is the first time you've actually
So,
seen her
Arcadia, are
drink.
you queen of the Amazons yet?
And she says, "No, I don't want that headache."
Damn, I lost money on that.
And Corbin whispers to her and says, "So, did the Oracle's prediction come true? Should you have caught that bouquet after all?"
And you actually see her kind of smile and maybe even blush a little bit, and she said yes.
Mm. He's like, "Yeah, she always knows. I don't know how."
Wait, who is it?
She's still.
Is it Ileana?
And
Corbin shakes his head. No.
No.
She kind of, you see a pained look on Arcadia's face a little bit, but then she smiles and she says, "No, her name is Diana."
Congratulations. I missed out on too much.
And she says, "Thank you." And are you with Ballas?
It's complicated. We have a child, fellas and I, a daughter.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
Is she here?
No, I was on my way to Mitros to actually unite with them after a few years again, and I'm gonna try to be in my daughter's life.
Wow, we all have children now. Almost all of us. He looks at Arcadia.
She just stares at him.
And the innkeep comes. For desserts, we have a choice of feta and honey pastry, walnut cake, custard pie, or rice pudding.
Pudding.
And we will pair that with Pythor's Cheer. It is a nice dry red.
That's nice. I will take the walnut pie.
Nice.
Oh, look at the honey cake.
Nice.
Corbin looks over his shoulder at the new guy. He goes, "Why don't you sit and join us? What did you say your name was again? Testicles?"
Spits wine out.
Glare at.
Demetrius laughs as well.
Yes, very, very funny. I can see that your humor is that of a infant. But yes, my name is Tascalin Galandis.
Tascalin. Got it. I am not very good with names sometimes.
And
Yes, quite.
is to task Glenn have some of the wine as well?
Yeah, he'll partake in the wine.
All right.
Corbin will reach back into his bag and pull out a nice sweet wine that goes better with dessert.
Nice.
Corbin's just bringing his own wines to the sour
Oh no,
vintage.
I stole them from the basement earlier.
So, what have you all been up to these past 7 years? Tell me something interesting. Surely some of you have done something.
Me and Gaius have become quite friends. We've gone on many adventures. I
Really?
just returned from a big one to the north. I got me a new present for Gravik, and I'll gesture to the giant axe head sticking out of my back.
And Amicius will whistle. That is one big axe there. You can wield that? I don't believe it.
Wow, you know, I can become much bigger than I am now.
Ah. Well, don't ever turn that thing on me.
You better hope not. You better behave yourself, Demetrius.
I know you're still pissed over that black eye.
We don't speak of that.
All right. And I will look over at Electrion who coughs and say, "Oh, what about you, brother?"
Well, just coughing at the awkward tension. But I've become a scholar, actually.
I see, scholar. I'll be honest, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, I didn't either, but we had a mutual friend took me under his wing, and he helped me out a lot.
First Centaur scholar. I'm proud of you. We need people like you.
Yes, that's what I keep being told, but try not to let it go to my head too much, because if so, then my head's going to get as big as yours.
Not so big these days, I'm afraid. But perhaps you would be willing to bring your knowledge to the Centaur people sometime. We could benefit greatly from you.
And you see him kind of scratch his head, and he looks around like awkwardly. Yeah, maybe we could set that up sometime.
Yes.
Be completely honest, I don't think, I'm not sure the centaurs in general are, well, I mean, I don't know if they're ready for that kind of knowledge. As he looks at you, not disproving, but the way you look, and he's 100% judging you.
Well, they're going to have to get ready. These are different times.
And
Centaur can't keep waging war forever.
well, I hear rumors. I'm not saying that they're true or not, but there's rumors that
What?
That's well, fuck it. That you're a warlord and you just go around mercilessly slaughtering people if they don't bend the knee.
Demetrius scoffs at that, and he takes a long drink from his wine, and he looks around the table, and obviously everyone is looking at him curiously. They all want to know, don't they? And so he draws it out with a long pause, making them wait a little, And then he puts his mug down, and he sighs, and he's like, I did what I had to do to secure a future for my people. I'm not proud of everything I did, but hopefully now our people have a chance to be better than they were. And that's all I'd rather say about it.
And Electrian just grabs his cup of water and slowly drinks it.
Yeah, so the centaurs, they're not known to be the most enlightened. Perhaps it would be best if someone did make that change.
Well,
I,
my only issue is I'm not sure, being the brother of Demetrius, how well I would be received, because they would probably expect me to be him.
Perhaps you are right, brother.
Perhaps
It,
I've heard of a thing from a distant land called the yin and yang. Perhaps you could be the opposite of him. They can't expect you to be a copy of Demetrius himself.
well, Grevik, it's hard to stand in someone's shadow, and I'm afraid that I'm no longer any Yang to the centaur. I stepped down from my role. I am no longer leading anyone except for the Ultros. And then he glances over at Nico, and he looks away with a guilty look. But it's you have to be quick to see it.
Corbin seems to relax a bit and is happy to hear that news.
You missed the old ship.
Electran snorts.
And well, Demetrius says, "Well, it's nearby."
Is that first mate that seemed to like you so much still there?
Well, Gorgio, is she?
Which first mate? Oh god, the winged one. Yes,
The winged one.
Verena.
Yes.
Verena. Thank you. Yeah, she's still there.
I'm afraid most of the crew has been replaced with centaurs now, but she has proven quite a valuable asset. She's still with me.
What happened to all the Minotaurs?
Some stayed, some left, some died, and then he looks down into his wine and he sighs and he has another drink of it.
So are you going to tell us what really happened, or are you just going to pussyfoot around it? You're not the Demetrius that I remember.
What
Give
do
it
you
to
want
us.
know, brother. I'll
Give-
answer any question you have.
Give it to us. Truthful. We want the truth.
You want the truth? Very well. All of you here that sit here except you. You are not centaurs. You do not know what our race is like, what we are like. We tried it the peaceful way. We tried to convince them, but centaurs are centaurs. The god that created us is a god of war. They will listen only to violence. I could not let Sidon continue to rape and pillage my people, to spit them against each other. I knew I had to unite the centaur no matter what it took. And I stand by that.
Even
All of the
children?
centaur that died only because they stood against me, because they took up arms against me. Because they worshipped Sidon. I'm not proud of all of those actions. But someone had to do it. Someone had to make sure that the centaur would continue to survive for the next 100 years, the next 1,000 years. They were on their way out. Mitros had beaten them. Sidon had split them apart. I like to think I gave them a future. He says to Electrion.
And then Arcadia speaks up and says, "And what was your issue with Arisia?"
And Amicius will snort, Arisia. It's a den of corruption. The issue there was the monks fought back just as hard as we raided them. It's just a border dispute. We weren't agreed on where the Centaur lands began and where Arisia started. So there were some small problems, but it was ironed out. We have a treaty now. Such things happen between nations. Mitras and Arisia have been at war for decades.
Then she says, "What corruption?"
The vampires, the undead, whatever you call them.
I heard they were defeated.
Ravix people?
Well, I didn't know that at the time. It was a political issue.
And Arcadia nods.
So as you're discussing and talking about this, you hear a cough coming from over yonder, and you see, if you look, you see a nymph standing there, and she's very, very, very beautiful. It's the only way I can really describe it. And she says, "Well, are you ready to begin?"
Begin what?
Discussing the reason why you're here.
Oh, are you this Echo person?
I am.
Ah, if I knew the letter was sent by such a lovely lady, I would have dressed better and probably prepared.
It's okay.
Yes, of course.
But with that, let's take a 10-minute break because I got to pee. And if you want to watch the new intro video, that will be playing after our break is over.
Ooh, epic. Can't wait.
Where is that?
I'll be playing it after the break is over.
Oh, sweet.
All right, stream. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, so if you go away, please come back. And we'll see you shortly. I gotta pee. And I need to hit that button, and then I need to hit the music, and then there we go.
Watch what carrots do to your dog.
I invited the man I trust with my dogs, Dr. Marty Goldstein.
Here are the best and worst human foods for dogs. Number 1, cooked beef or chicken. Dogs go crazy for meat. I like to cut it into little pieces and hand feed it to my dogs. Just make sure the meat is
Yes, we will find many ways.
There's another one I might add. I like that one. There's another one I also like. I also like that one too. All right, so we are back though as the Echo, the nymph. From her appearance, it's clear that she is an Oread, a mountain nymph. Her skin is like polished obsidian, while her hair is like freshly fallen snow. She stands tall and proud with sharply defined features that give her a striking and commanding presence. 500 years ago, my betrothed, Narcissus, the god of beauty, was stolen from me by the Queen of Aresia. For half a millennium, her descendants have kept Narcissus imprisoned in the dungeons of their foul city. Many wars have been fought to free him, but the Aresian campaigns have amounted to nothing. Recently, my beloved Narcissus learned of a secret ritual that transforms mortals into gods. He now seeks to build a new pantheon. Join with me to rescue him, and he will share the secrets with you. Moreover, we cannot let this knowledge fall into the hands of the Aresians. Think of the consequences.
Amitrus will mutter, I was right all this time. Indeed, Aresia was corrupt to the core. The stallion has never given me a wrong instinct.
What does this have to do with the dreams?
I am fairly certain that there are others who is looking for this power as well. And
I will use my... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I will use my divine sense to detect nearby celestial fiends and undead.
What's the range on that? Like 60 feet?
60 feet.
Alright, so you, Corbin, Arcadia, Nico pop up as Celestial.
What?
What?
Well, I'm guessing he doesn't say anything, so Arcadia's just sitting there sipping on her wine.
Well,
but she does look kind of concerned about this. You see a slight frown on her face, hearing about Aresia being corrupt.
Amitrus would already know this, since he's definitely used Divine Sense earlier.
Yes.
But he doesn't think it's worth mentioning, because he's used to it. I mean, it just happened after the battle, and he's had that sense for years, so... He's like, so Echo doesn't show up as Celestial and...
or evil. Nope.
He will say, well, she's not hiding anything that I can sense. She's a nymph.
So it doesn't impress Amitrus that we are coming up as Celestials?
Well, you know, it's like he's had that for years, so... To him, it's not a surprise. Like, he might mention it later, like, oh, you guys probably don't know, type of way, but he doesn't mention it right now.
Interesting.
And she looks and says, did you get what you're looking for off of me?
Why here and now?
Because... I had the same dreams. And I think we are all tied together. Plus, I think this place is maybe marked from a greater being, since this is where it all began for you.
What new pantheon does Narcissus wish to build?
Well, there is as I'm sure you're aware, that there is a void of gods, and the city or the world itself needs them. So he's trying to build a new pantheon with new gods.
And then Demetrius says, wait a minute. Does he intend to build that pantheon from us? And then he will turn to the party and he'll say, because we all sense like gods. And I assume Tascalin didn't, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just
He
us
sensed-
four. Okay. Sorry, what did I sense from Tascalin? Just regular human?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll
Pretty
say
sure that he didn't get any divine.
It must be Narcissus that brought us here, and he must intend us to be this Pantheon, because all of us, we have the magic of the gods within us. That's what he'll explain.
And she says, yes, and I am absolutely confident that my beloved has the ability to elevate you to true godhood. As your brother here can tell you, the divine path is a well-studied concept at the Academy, but it's mostly a collection of myths and legends.
And what's in it for Narcissus?
Well, he needs to be freed.
And what are his intentions once he is freed?
To build the Pantheon, of course.
Sure, his intentions are to elevate us to gods, but why? He doesn't know it.
But you know his siblings.
That's right. But why haven't his siblings freed him?
Have you not noticed that they're just... Well, I mean, one is...
500 years passed.
Well, they have tried. Where do you think most of those wars have come from?
Ah, that explains. And he will turn to the party and say, what do you guys think about this?
Arcadia says, I have no wish to be a god.
And about this time, Aesop, who you remember from the Dragon Shrine in Mitros, comes running in. And he's out of breath, and he says, What she says is true. He is the god of beauty, and he is a lost sibling of the five, but there is much that she did not tell you, as he looks at her. Narcissus was he was self-absorbed, selfish, and obsessed with the beauty that he attained when he was transformed from a dragon into a god. In this vanity, he lost his way. He refused to aid the mortals during the First War. For this betrayal, the other gods disowned him. When he was taken by Eresia, it was deemed justice. But if Narcissus has truly learned the secrets to godhood, then we must take action. That much power is dangerous in the hands of a rival kingdom. You must rescue Narcissus. You can attempt to infiltrate the city of Eresia on your own, or you can summon the strength of the armies of Mitros to aid you.
Well, surely our friend Chuck would help us.
You do have allies in Eresia who is willing to swap sides, of course.
I'm just let me say no more war.
Yes, we're just...
If you want my help, we must infiltrate. I will not attack Eresia.
They are just... Mitros is still recovering from the war 7 years ago. Everyone's still grieving. I don't think we can start another war. I'm with Demetrius on this one.
If Gravikin's involved, he must be stopped.
Gravik is... From what I hear, he probably doesn't want any competition, so he might be involved in this if he's heard of it.
But I will tell you now, I do not trust Narcissus for anything. If the five gods banished him, it must be for good reason. I do not believe he tends to elevate us to gods out of gratitude. Clearly he intends some other course of action, maybe steal our powers.
Oh, he's got some other motives, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
You wouldn't be doing that just out of the kindness of his heart.
But 500 years is a long time. Nobody deserves to be imprisoned for that long. I do think we should free him.
Corbin rubs his temples and says, oh no, not again. I'm too old for this shit.
Too old? You never looked better, Corbin. Come on. You don't want to use that. You don't want to waste that axe you have.
I would prefer to settle down, but only after this axe is in Gravik's skull.
What about you, Arcadia?
He says, I don't trust Narcissus either. I think if we free him, it doesn't necessarily mean he should be let go. And she looks at Echo and she says, I know he is your betrothed. But we would have to see his state of mind. We can't afford to unleash something that could end up bringing evil to the world, no matter
And we are the perfect people
what.
to do it because we will have the ability to kill him. If it
And she
needs to
looks.
be done.
No, you don't need to kill him.
If it needs to be done, if he's evil and he has some kind of secret plan.
But he is not evil.
We don't know that.
Who is saying that? Echo or
Echo.
Ace?
Echo.
And she says, you, and Arcadia says to her, 500 years have passed. A lot can change in people. And she says, much like 7 years. She kind of...
Carbon will look over to her and says, I don't know. Perhaps he will be okay. Remember our friend, the bug person? He turned out to be okay. Everybody said he was evil.
As far as we know.
All I'm saying is that we can go to Regia and free him. But I have a direct line to the Queen, and I would, if you feel it's right, I could contact her, unless you think there will be a problem with that.
Do not contact the Queen. She's the one who's keeping him in prison. She will not release him.
We cannot inform her that we are coming for Narcissus, or we will never be able to reach him. We must infiltrate the city without being detected, or at least without them knowing that we know about Narcissus. Because last time we were in Aresia, all of the heroes are quite powerful, and they will surely come to the call of the Queen and stop us if we try to free Narcissus.
You think we could trust Chuck?
No. I don't think we can trust anyone in Aresia.
And Echo will reply, there are some that you can trust.
The servant of Narcissus, I'm sure you mean.
And Arcadia would ask, do you know who they are?
And from behind you, you hear a woman's voice saying, well, I'm one of them. And if you look, you see that there is a person all in black taking a sip of wine and putting it on the table, who is sitting right next to Tascalin.
Tascalin's gonna look over. It's like, oh, when did you get there?
Well,
do I recognize her?
Well, if you stopped breathing so damn loudly, you would have hurt me.
Breathing loud. Sure, he's gonna look at the rest of the group, kind of in a very.
Pay attention, wizard. If that guy wanted it, you would be dead.
Arcadia looks at this person and very subtly does a sign.
And one is responded. And this person says, what do you mean, guy, Centaur? I am no man.
Well, do forgive me, he says sarcastically. But you're wearing a hood.
And?
Well, feel free to take it off so that we can have a conversation.
I don't know if I can trust you that you will go and blab to the Queen. That I am willing to help.
If you don't know you can trust me, you should have never appeared before me.
I'm here because I can trust at least one of you. And
look over to Arcadia.
Mm-hmm. And there are some of us who wish for better of Orisha. That it is time for the Queen to... There's time for changes to be made in Orisha. Let's say that.
I see. And what's your motive in that? Why do you want change?
Because I am tired. I'm just tired. Just because you have a truce right now with our people doesn't mean it's going to last for long. and I am tired of the constant battle and war.
Our relations with Eresia have never been easy. They despise me in that city. My name is a curse there.
Well, for good reason.
Disguise.
For good reason, Centaur.
We can agree to disagree on that, but...
You know what you did. Even if they don't, you know what you did.
And Amicius doesn't refute that, but instead he says, I will need some kind of magic to disguise myself if I want to go anywhere near that city.
I think I can handle that.
And that is what stealth and infiltration is for. I know of
That's
some
something we're known for.
I know of some ways around the city, underground passages.
Excellent.
With my help, we won't need that. We can just walk through the front gates.
If we decide to help you, we're going to make no promises to join your cause. We will decide ourselves what must happen to Narcissus and what kind of person he has become.
And she says, very well. But if you're intending to infiltrate instead of just smash your way, as she looks at Corbin, smash your way through things, then I might suggest no dragons.
Very well.
The dragons won't fit through the
It
sewers
would be
and tunnels.
difficult, definitely. Besides, vengeance can protect our families. I
And
don't trust this whole situation.
and they say, and what happens if you decide that you want to kill my beloved? What will happen then?
Then he will have betrayed us first.
Then he will die, I suppose.
And you hear the barkeep. As the barkeep is cleaning the tables, that wouldn't be a smart idea, but what am I to know?
If you trust us to help save your beloved, and if you truly believes that he is a good and changed man, then you have nothing to be concerned about, and you can trust that we will not harm him. Is that not fair?
Well, that is fair, but you do have a reputation. But we understand that that you are quite literally one of our last hopes.
If he is to be harmed, I will promise that the entire party will vote on it, and it will not be a hot-headed decision.
And she looks at
And if you do
Aesop.
not trust me, at least Arcadia and Nico.
And she looks at Aesop, and Aesop shrugs, and she says, agreed.
And then he
One
turns
of
to the party and
Amicius'
says, what do you
brother.
guys think?
Who is going on this adventure? Is your brother coming? Why is he invited to this party?
I would love to spend some time with my brother, lecture on you, but perhaps leave the combat to us.
And Electron says, I am no warrior. I am so also curious as to why I'm here. And
Clearly, your fate is entwined with ours.
And Echo shrugged and says, I don't know why you're here either. I don't know why you also are having these dreams. And you are just merely a scholar.
And Demetrius will say, not merely a scholar. Scholars are important. Will you travel with us, brother?
And he says, let me sleep on it, and I will let you know.
You get to ask me more questions about my time with the Centaur.
And he says, but my studies are very important as well. I'm working on a breakthrough.
What better place to learn than in the field? But think about it.
Yes, I will think about it and let you know in the morning.
Well, what does everyone think? Arcadia, are you on board with the mission? What do you think about it?
She nods at the person in black and says, I have mixed feelings about this, obviously, as I was welcomed to Regia only a couple of years ago. But I trained well there, and I am willing to help them.
Perhaps we can just decide what is going on before we turn against the Queen or anyone else, so that we don't have to, I suppose, harm your former allies. Or I guess the Queen was the one inviting you there?
I asked for permission.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Corbin? What do you think about this mission?
Given the dreams, I think we have no choice but to follow this and see where it leads. But I think we are agreed. We must be very cautious. Arcadia, are we sure we can trust your nephew? He is not one of the original group, and we have had bad luck with strangers.
And she looks at him and says, to be honest, I don't know him well either. But you should know from the tales of our adventures what we do to people who betray us.
I can assure you that I am trustworthy. It's been my life's work to someday fill in as a hero once you have all gone and retired or done your own decided on new choices in your lives. That's my mission to do this. This is actually something I've been dreaming of my entire life.
When Arcadia looks at him, and Amitrius is looking at her, and she says, she's not sure she can quite trust him about her own nephew, he suddenly bursts out in laughter, and he says, "Ah, that's the Arcadia I know. Phew. Luckily, you're still in there."
When Corbin hears him speak, just for a moment, he swears he hears the old Gravik's voice, but he shakes it off.
Exactly, yes.
Arcadia looks at Amitrius and just says, "Zone of truth?"
And Amitrius nods. And you'll say, if you wish to travel with us, you must answer our questions within a circle of my magic that will force you to speak the truth. And we will know if you lie.
I find that quite insulting. On to Arcadia, how can you not trust me? I have done... This is quite insulting.
I don't know you, boy. And you need to prove yourself to us, and this is the way you do it, through the zone of truth.
She's like 2 years older than him.
Boy. I can assure you, I do not accept such treatment. I do not deserve this.
You fool! That is Arcadia you are speaking to, commander of the Amazons, hero of legend. You are the one who should mind your tone.
Odd position.
If you wish to travel with us, you will do as we say, or you simply don't travel with us.
I am of noble birth. How could...
Corbin reaches out to him.
That's settled.
Says, you must understand, we have been betrayed many times. We cannot risk bringing another into the group. And I will look at the others. And in addition to this, perhaps a new oath is in order.
Agreed.
How can I trust any of you either? Everyone should be in the zone of truth. As you said, you have powerful enemies. For all I know, that this
is the reason for the new oath, boy.
To what end, boy? I trust these people with my life.
And I will say it just like Arcadia.
I need no further oath from these. I trust them with my life. They have proven time and time again to be honorable.
I will do this,
but we don't know you.
I will say, but I will not be bound by no oath. I am of noble birth, and I will not be chained to any.
You are a fool. You cannot be a hero and not be bound by oath. Oaths are part of the path. We are all bound by the oath of fellowship.
That is not true. You simply chose oaths to maintain your trust. But if you must do this zone of truth very well, cast your spell.
Well, we weren't finished talking about this yet. Nico, do you think...
You cut out.
Oh, I said we weren't finished with this conversation yet. Task boy, Nico, do you think we should go through with this mission?
I do, but I also think that we should be very careful. I don't trust.
Agreed.
I don't trust him at all, and he looks over to Teskel, and he's like, "Furthermore, I don't know him. I don't trust him either.
He seems to have a chip on his shoulder about being born in some way.
Oh, look at me! I'm a no.
Oh, look at me! Oh, I was so lucky to be born.
Gotta get a little red in the
Take
face.
the oath and come with us, or don't.
Oh, my daddy had a lot of money.
But he's gonna get you can tell he's never been talked to this way before, so he's like getting red in the face. Yeah, but he can't really do anything since you guys are all like the heroes.
Celestial.
And we all outrank you. We all have a higher noble title.
Cast your damn spell already. He just kind of huffed and kind of cross his arms.
Let's do it after our guests depart. It's rude to induct interrogation here.
And
we are still in the middle of business.
And Echo says, "I'm all here for it," as she takes a sip of ale.
That's an affair for the heroes. Where do we meet your region contacts? We've agreed to the mission.
And they'll point on a place on the map, maybe 2 kilometers from the northern border.
How many days travel is that?
Let's see. It's not that map. This map. Probably a day and a half, 2 days. Oh wait, no, it's longer than that because y'all are here. Yeah, that's where y'all are. Oh yeah, it'll be a couple days if you're going by foot.
We'll meet you there in 5 days. Is that okay?
And she nods. And Jocasta, not Jocasta, yeah, well, fuck it, her name's Jocasta. Jocasta says, I will meet you there. These two will not be in attendance.
Very well.
My name's
Jocasta.
Anything
else we should know?
My name's Jocasta, by the way.
Nice to meet you. Is there anything else we should know?
About what?
About this mission, about Narcissus' goals, about the truth.
The only thing that I can say is that I have a feeling that you will not be the only ones on this mission.
We can handle competition. Just know that people have tried to make us act in their own interests before, and it never ended well for them. We are no one's puppets.
And Jocasta will stand up and says, well, if you have no further questions for me, I'll let you to it. I have a long trip back.
See you in 5 days.
Arcadia would stand and bow to her.
And she will give you a slight nod as she disappears into the shadows.
Who was that, Arcadia, and why did you bow to her?
She is one of my teachers in Arisha.
No wonder I didn't sense her at all as she snuck up on the boy.
Yeah, speaking of which, maybe we should get a room for the night and conduct our business there.
There are a few, and the innkeeper says, there are a few rooms upstairs you may have.
How nice of you.
Stairs.
As Corbin
I hate
flexes and
stairs.
glows, as if Corbin flexes and glows a little bit.
you hate stairs. and
You're an old enemy, Demetrius.
when you say you hate stairs, the innkeeper says, well, there are stalls outside if you want to degrade yourself like that.
And Demetrius will he will laugh at that, and he'll. I'll take the stables.
I guess we should go there first then. Since
Didn't
have
you
this
stay in
purple.
the stables last time we were here?
I think
That's
so.
right.
And
Bringing up old memories.
And Electra
Yeah.
and Electra says, I will sleep upstairs.
I'll be honest, I missed you guys. It was it's good seeing you again.
And Electra will depart because he has no use for being with whatever you guys are doing. And he'll say, I'll see you in the morning.
As he's walking away, Corbin's going to whisper to Demetrius, you know your brother's wearing a dress now. That's just disturbing.
Yeah, I think it looks good on him. I'm happy he found his way.
Must be a centaur thing.
Well, you know, pants get in the way of the whole.
Yeah, I've noticed you've never worn them, even when poor Steve was encouraging you to.
Remember, he tried to put some kind of bag on me.
Yes,
I had to kick him off.
I forgot the shit bag. Yeah, I forgot about that.
How can we forget?
Forgot about that one.
Now, I was going to ask, is his plate armor like, fully around his legs, or is he wearing a kilt, or what does he look like?
He no longer has the kilt. The plate mail is pretty much covering him. It's full plate mail. But
wow,
you can still see his muscles bulging out of it in places.
Do you still have a BPL?
A what?
A visible line.
Yes. He's got one of those special cod pieces that really stick out.
Have you seen the new Longest Yard with Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
So like the cup scene where with Hammer, like the wrestler had a big ass cup, so it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, Corbin. I thought you looked better as a gnome. Far more handsome, at least.
Oh, it is so good to be back to myself.
Yeah, I bet Verzi agrees.
Yes. She said she partly put me in that gnome's body because she didn't trust me. I can't believe it.
Really? You were a gnome all these years for such a petty reason?
No, not just that. The poor gnome needed saving. And
I've been
and my
reading
body
his
was
book.
gravely wounded when I was stabbed in the back.
Ah, I see.
People are always
I was
betraying
reading his
me.
book. He's a great writer. Right now, I'm reading a tale of how he went back to. Remember, they put him in a cage and they're gonna. Somehow he seduced two elven maidens and he became their chieftain. He writes, but I don't know how much of it I should believe.
Well, if you're going to the stables, we should take the new boy with us and see if he can be trusted. We cannot afford another Gravik.
Very well. Let us perform the ritual in the stables.
I mean, Gunnar was okay, but we only knew him for like a day, so who knows?
Geiner? Who the hell is Geiner?
You know, the guy
No?
that the guy that helped us in the fight, and he has that
what,
famous bar.
The god, the Bahamut.
Yes. The guy that the poor boss man loaned us.
Oh, right, that dwarf, right. Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. He's got a bar, and he seems to have just settled down.
I completely forgot he existed.
So let us go to the stables.
All right.
And form a new
guess,
oath and check on this boy.
Arcadia, you just made that forever. Let's see, where is the zone of truth? Okay.
So, what is this? Some kind of hazing ritual? Yeah, for the new members of your group.
Yes, something like that. So, it will create a magical zone that guards against deception in 15-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature can't speak a deliberate lie. If you succeed, you can lie, but I will know if you've lied. I will know if you succeeded and if you can lie, or if you failed and cannot lie. So obviously I will wait for the moments that you fail the save to ask you questions. I mean, you can evade or avoid answering if you like, but I mean, obviously we are all surrounding you and we'll be like, hold on, why aren't you answering? So those are the rules. Okay, I will cast a spell when we enter the barn.
And when you go to cast a spell, you notice that it doesn't work.
What?
The
zone of truth doesn't go off, or it doesn't affect him?
The zone of truth does not go off.
Do I burn my spell slot?
Yes.
And you see that Amicius, he closes his eyes and he whispers an ancient incantation to the stallion, calling for the truth to come to light. And you see a glow emanate from his hand, and it then fizzles out. Like, huh? And he looks at his hand confused, and he'll try again and waste another spell slot and assume the same effect.
Same effect.
He'll say, my magic, I don't know, my magic doesn't seem to be working here.
What's wrong, Paladin? Can't get it up?
And Amitrius will do an insight check on Tascalin. He believes that Tascalin is somehow involved with this, and I will use my inspiration on that.
Okay, and the tower, please. Yeah, you know he's doing something.
Wizard, do not play tricks on me.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you just have gotten rusty with your campaigning with the centaurs. Haven't used much magic there, have you? More brawn than brains, I suppose, dealing with them.
I've had it. Either you stop what you're doing, or you are out of the group.
Fine. And he's just gonna cross his arms. Go ahead.
Corbin grows to a very large size suddenly. He's looking down from a great height on him, and he's fingering the top of the axe.
I'm just showing you what I can do. He's just gonna move his arms out like in a shrugging
All right,
gesture.
calm down. I'm impressed. Now let's do this. And he will perform the same blessing to bring the truth to light, and he will create a magical circle on the floor around them.
Okay, this time he's not going to counterspell it.
How did he do that counterspell without us knowing he cast the spell?
He's just going to wink.
You rolled on everyone?
Yeah, they're all in a circle.
Oh, true.
So, and Tascalin and Amitrius are the only ones that can lie now.
Great.
And
Ask your questions.
Amitrus will say, hold on. He's resisting my magic. He has a powerful mind.
I can't help it. Sorcerer, remember?
And Amitrus will continue to focus, so he will wait 6 seconds. And let's see. He will wait 6 seconds and try again for his magic to pierce him as long as he stays in. Okay, finally, he is affected, and we can ask him a question, I suppose. One question.
Just one question?
I mean, it only lasts 6 seconds. Then he has to roll again.
Oh, can we just?
But I
assume
suppose
we
if
do
the
that
DM
over
is
and over
okay with
again?
it, we can just say that we keep waiting until he fails.
Corbin wastes all the questions by asking stupid questions.
Okay, this is what you wanted, so what questions do you have to ask me?
Do you work for anyone? Do you intend to betray us?
That's 2 questions.
Answer both.
No, I'm not working for anyone. And, no, I have no intentions of betraying anyone.
Do you have any oaths?
Has that been about 6 seconds? Okay, but...
I can do another one on you. Here we go.
Okay.
You succeed.
We'll
You can
just, like
lie
you
about
said,
that.
we'll just keep going until he fails. Like,
Yeah, I guess. Or I guess
Let's
if he
do it.
chooses to fail.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It lasts 10 minutes. Let's do 10 questions.
Okay.
How are you related to me?
Well, Pythor, kind of like, you're my great aunt.
What is your reason for wanting to adventure with us?
For the experience, so that when time comes to replace you, that I am up to the task.
Replace?
Well, you can't live forever.
Speak
And
for
I'm sure you don't
yourself,
want to be
boy.
doing this for the rest of your lives.
Unless we become gods.
Well, that's fair, but once you become gods, you'll have other responsibilities. Who's going to go around the countryside making sure that things are taken care of?
Who do you worship?
I suppose I would be not really worship anyone, but I suppose the old pantheon of the 5 gods, but they are no longer, they're kind of defunct now, so who is there to actually worship?
Do you let's see, sorry.
Do you have any oaths?
Do you have any enemies? Oh yeah, oaths. You already asked the oaths, right?
I never got an answer.
Oh.
Oh wow, who hasn't a few oaths here and there?
What are
Do
they?
you have?
Carbon's going to blow all the questions.
Yes, I told you.
Where's your daddy and what does he do?
Exactly.
He's a noble. I haven't really seen him that much, so I'm not sure what he's up to anymore.
No, that one doesn't count.
Hell no, I can't.
Do you have any enemies?
Oh, I'm sure I have quite a few enemies at the Scholar. I am quite gifted, obviously, so they probably. I have quite a few.
Don't evade the question.
I'm not evading
Specifics.
I'm not evading the question. I have plenty of classmates that are quite envious of my talents, and they're constantly trying to cause me trouble. But other than that, no.
They're always after your Lucky Charms.
I don't know what that means, but I suppose.
Well, guess that's me out of questions. Seems he is who he says to be. At least he believes it. I say we give him a chance, only to see what he's capable of. I'm not quite sure I want him in our oath of fellowship just yet.
I think we must. I think we must have a new oath of fellowship if we are to travel together.
I think we are. You still have one question left, I believe, if I've counted correctly.
And I will look at Corbin.
Tell me what your current oaths are.
Oh, nothing really that's
It's an
spectacular.
oath. Oaths are spectacular here. You
Oh,
learn nothing, boy.
just some oaths I made to be true, and to replace the current heroes one day, to be true to the land and its people, not to cause them any harm.
What arrogance.
You have an oath to replace us?
Well, one day, of course, like when the day does come that I am just and follow the laws and is a true hero of the land.
You need to be careful what you wish for, boy. Do you know what we've sacrificed to get here?
Well, I'm sure people I'm sure you sacrificed quite a bit, but I'm a prodigy. I'm sure I could then do things maybe a little bit different.
You'll learn the truth of that before long.
Not to demean any of your accomplishments. They are quite spectacular, but what is the next generation to do but to improve and do things better?
I'd like to talk to you in 10 years.
I hope to have that conversation with you in 10 years' time.
Maybe he needs to spend some time as a gnome.
Well, I believe we should give him a chance, but I'm not willing to take an oath with someone that I haven't seen. I want to see what he's capable of first.
Wouldn't the oath bind him to our quest?
Perhaps,
No.
but I don't want to repeat with Gravik the oath of fellowship and then he betrays us. I want to see what he's made of. I want to see if he's even useful to us before we bind him by an oath. For all we know, he's very weak. I mean, so far he showed us good magic, but we don't know how it goes.
Very well, but I'm very nervous about this quest. We know very little again.
You nervous? It really has been 7 years, Corbin.
You know how much I hate questions.
Come on, old
Just
friend.
when I finally got some answers.
Have you and I not looked a Sidon in the eye and struck him down? What is this quest compared to that?
Perhaps.
We can do this.
Very well. Are we done for the night then?
Well, I am.
Oh, then I guess we take the oath of fellowship again with him.
Demetrius says he wishes to wait on this.
I want to see what he's made of.
Arcadia would agree. She says, I don't think we need a new oath right now.
Okay.
Corbin seems a little bit nervous about not taking the oath, but...
The old man's afraid to get out of retirement. 500 years old and he's still nervous.
I will walk out of the barn and go for a stroll. I will walk around the inn for a while.
I'll say, Arcadia, stay a minute. As people start leaving.
She stops.
The Amiches will wait for the other two to leave as well.
Well,
I'm already gone.
I guess it's time to leave. Thank you for this. It was quite enlightening. And he'll clap his hands together and disappear.
I can still detect him with my invis, or did he teleport?
He used subtle spell to cast Fire Staff and just teleported out of there.
Oh.
Sus.
He's trying to impress us. It's working a little bit, actually.
So Nico, right quick, Nico, when you retire upstairs, you hear very, very loud snoring coming from the room that you were supposed to share with Electron. Like, extremely loud snoring.
Oh. Get some cotton out of one of the pillows and I shove it in my ears.
Perfect.
I'll say, Arcadia, I know in the past we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I didn't quite like how we left things off last time. And I wanted you to know that I've always respected you and your abilities in combat and as a hero.
And she says, and I've always respected those qualities in you.
Yes, and I wanted you to know that I've thought about it, and you were right. I was wrong to take you to Dragon Isle, and I apologize.
And she's kind of stunned a little bit, because she never thought she'd hear that from him. And she says, you know, what hurt me was you taking my decision out of my hands.
You're right. For the longest time, I couldn't understand why you were upset, but eventually the same thing happened to me, and I came to realize that that was your choice to make, not mine. So I'm sorry.
And she says, I accept.
Very well. And he will put his fist to his chest as a salute.
She will extend her arm to you.
And you will, I guess, take it and shake it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And says, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you then. And she doesn't go into the inn because you know how she hates buildings, so she's going to do her thing.
Just like the first time.
Yep.
It's exactly the same.
She camps outside, and you might hear her very softly speaking. No more than 25 words before she goes to bed.
What are these words?
She would say, made it to Sour Vintage safely. I'm counting. Made it to Sour Vintage safely. I already miss you so much. Stay safe,
Clearly.
my love.
Oh.
Clearly talking to Gravik.
Phew. Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you
exactly.
were reporting on activities there. I thought like,
That's
oh god,
funny.
here we go again.
Here we go again.
As Arcadia is going to find her campsite, she would see Corbin walking around the inn, looking at it carefully. He stops by the wall where part of his vision occurred, and he pulls out some chalk and he scrawls on the wall, "Gravik, you really suck," and then he pees on it, and he goes into the inn.
Does he pee in giant form, so like a giant puddle is there?
Yeah, yeah.
And
he was still a
Demetrius
giant.
feels the hairs on the back of his neck stand up like someone's walking over his grave.
Then he shrinks back down. He goes back to his room, and he kind of heard some of the words Arcadia was mentioning. So he pulls out a stone and he says, "Hello, hello, are you there?" And still no response from the stone.
I fucking knew it wasn't the elders that made the statue. I knew it.
And then Corbin pulls out his special pillow as the snoring is very loud in the other room, and he lays down with the special pillow, and it helps drift him off to sleep.
And Demetrius says, you go to bed down. You feel like something in the hay. It feels like a rod.
You will pick it up.
So you find tightly intertwined leaves of grass bound by additional stiff, knotted blades of grass form this rod. It is a magical item from from Tascalon.
Very nice, thank you.
Yeah, it is in your inventory.
Oh, cool.
Let's see.
Look, favored by plains dwelling people.
But it does require attunement, unfortunately.
Yeah, I realized a lot of things require attunement now. I have to make some difficult choices.
The joys of being level 17.
Yeah, it's tough with Nico. He's got so many attuned things. Sucks you can only choose 3.
Do you still have that ring of protection?
He just got it.
I just got it.
Well,
He
technically,
just got it from the Queen of the Amazon.
technically he's had it for like 6 years, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Poor Nico forgot to use the blessing, his epic blessing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nico fights with 2 arms tied behind his back.
All right, so as you bed down and all drip to sleep.
Uh-oh, here it comes, here it comes.
Oh, you know it's coming. I mean, welcome to, you have you all start having nightmares, and they're very, very, very vivid. And you see your good buddy Gravic laughing, and you see he's looking at that chalk where it says, Gravic, you suck. And he says, I'll show you. And you see him take a knife, and you start hearing screaming as you hear him slicing and dicing and ripping things apart. And then you all wake up in a sweat, as it is extremely vivid.
Corbin punches his pillow. Stupid, defective magic pillow.
And
supposed to stuff these things.
When you wake up,
on a discount.
When you wake up, you still hear the screaming coming from outside.
Sus.
I will run out there to see what is going on.
Yeah, Arcadia would jump up because she already is outside.
So, as you all head outside, Nico, when you wake up, you don't realize it as you're running up, but the snoring is gone. And
oh no!
As
I was coming a mile away.
as you run outside, you see 5 people. They all have their lungs over their ribs. Their ribs are splayed open from their back. As you discover and start looking, you find old Corbin, Ileana, Electrion, Nico's druid that he took under his wing, and Tascalon's mom.
Who's the lady?
What? Amitris will run over to his brother and take him down from being, I guess.
He's
down.
Yeah, and as you run over to him, you see him slowly, like you see his lungs, like he's obviously alive, but obviously dying.
Tascalon will rush over quickly, look around, horrified, and then suddenly he seems to have a realization and clasps his hands together as magical power just starts to emanate from him as he casts Wish to try and heal all of them.
And it does not go off.
He just sits, just wide-eyed as the magic just dissipates, just completely confused as to why it didn't work. And he
Nico tries healing the young druid with a high-level heal spell.
And it does not go off, as you start realizing that all of your power has been dampened.
What is happening?
This seems like a part of, Tascalon has just been broken because all he's ever relied on is his natural gifts, and now they're not working, and he's quickly rushes over to his mother, just ignoring everyone. Like, what's have a healing potion? Does anyone have Nico? Do something!
I guess to no avail, Amitrius pumps all of his lay on hands into the brother, but I suppose his magic is dampened as well.
It is.
And as he watches his brother slowly die, he will embrace his head and he'll say, "I'm sorry, brother," and he will kill him.
And as you go, you see him with his bloody hand reach for your hand, and
he will take it,
and it falls limp.
And he will break his brother's neck. Tears will roll from his eyes as he sobs and mourns the death of Electrion.
You're all heroes! You can do something about this! Nico! You're a druid! Heal them!
My powers are not working.
What do you mean? You're the heroes!
We can do something about it, boy. We can kill Gravik.
He's gonna look down to his mother, and I'm sure she's probably dead by now.
Yes.
He just going to just broken, doing anything, just holding her. And he just.
I will. Amitrius will walk over.
Corbin looks down at the broken body of the gnome, and he sees a book next to him with a bloody scrawl in it, 0 stars.
Oh, I will.
Wow,
that is savage.
Oh man!
I will walk over to Tascalin, and I will put my hand on the wizard's shoulder and say, "I'm sorry, boy."
I should have ignored the letter. This is my fault. Why was I not able to wish?
This is the path that heroes walk.
I wish is supposed to solve everything.
This is not your fault. It's Gravik.
I learned it. He's going to slowly stand up, just not saying anything, just almost catatonic. Just all his power was just useless when it mattered.
And we do get the idea that these aren't like, at least, like they feel real, they can be touched.
Oh yeah, 100%. And from behind you, you hear some laughter as your good buddy Gravik says, "If you wish to defeat me, you know how to do it." And he disappears.
And right before he disappears, Tascalin will turn towards him and cast Dragon's Breath at level 8 and just send a torrent of electricity in that direction. But obviously missing him and just scorching the land.
And that actually goes off because it's a breath weapon. But in Arcadia,
it's a magic spell.
Oh, it's a magic spell? Oh no, it doesn't go off then. Sorry, I thought it was a breath weapon. Yeah, no, it does not go off. Nothing goes off. Yeah. And
pay for this.
Arcadia, do you check Ilyana?
She would have run over to her right away and grabbed her.
And she is dead, and in her outstretched hand is a heft-carved figure of a little kraken.
Oh.
But I think that's it's a good place to call it. The stakes have been raised.
You killed
That's savage.
Corbin, you bastard.
They had such a nice evening, and then this. Oof.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that Amitrius gave that speech about sacrifice just the night before. What an omen.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And now that's like, oof. Now he knows.
As soon as your brother stayed in the inn, I had him pegged as dead meat.
No, I thought he would join us and begin
Yeah.
I don't know,
That-
recording our adventures or something. I
Nah,
wasn't expecting him to die.
I was looking at like the cop saying he was going to retire in 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, Graphic isn't playing anymore. He's now our main target. We have to focus all our resources on him.
Corbin's always been that way. So Corbin looks at the rest of the group. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, let's say the asshole says, "You know what to do if you want to get him."
Oh boy.
Corbin
Yeah.
said it from the beginning.
He's that's like no holds barred now.
Now it's on. Everything is on. Like, the rules are off the table. Graphic is now. We're gonna hunt down whoever he loves. Well, I
Graphic
suppose
doesn't
he
love
doesn't
anything.
love anyone, but exactly just himself.
To Amitrus's bastard child. Oh, I love you so much. You're so much better than your father.
That's the only one he loves, Brygos. Oh God.
What could Demetrius, reformed Demetrius, find himself able to kill him? Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. He's at this point he's like pushed pretty far.
Yeah, old Demetrius would have no problem.
No problem at all.
And nipple stealing muskrat says, "Punch him in the genitals until you hear a pop." You know, and for a little bit when I was like doing this, I thought about the children. I was like, I can't do that. Like that just because I have kids and I don't know, like that would just send me over. I couldn't do it. But I thought about it. Like I thought really hard about doing that, especially
That would even
Not kill them, but kidnap them.
no, like I was like it like I thought about it for a day. Like once you guys all said you had children, I was like, man,
Yeah.
boy, that would piss us off.
yeah,
We would freak out.
Yeah.
We would freak out. We would
I'm
go
still
to the
pissed
office
that
right
the
away.
young kid got killed. He was only about 14, the young druid.
Yeah, like
yeah,
Oh,
Nico's
shit.
prodigy apprentice, like the future of the old wood.
yeah. I thought about it for a second. Like that's just way too evil.
Arcadia and Corbin got off the easiest because Arcadia already broke up with Ileana.
Well, I'm not sure Arcadia got off that easy. I'm not sure.
You still like her, though.
No, I didn't get to really say much, but that's okay.
I'll say what you want.
Now the Haskell's gonna have a existential crisis for like the next few sessions since all his magical powers were useless and he was so arrogant about it.
Yeah, he finally met a real wizard. Like Gravik is on a whole new level.
Or Corbinosity. At least he got his last entry in his logbook.
This is kind of a very brutal task because he was like this little kid. He had dreams, and now he's like, oof, thrown into the deep end. Talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mother. That's like, yeah, his
That's
mother.
like
With the heroes that
even
don't trust
our
him.
day one wasn't this brutal.
Maybe
No.
we'll trust him a little more now.
Yeah, if you can't trust him now.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little
just
brutal.
going out of your way to also get the new guy that's replacing you. That's just petty.
And who knows? Maybe this was caused because of what Corbin wrote on the wall.
Could be.
Oh, maybe it's Corbin's fault.
Corbin regrets nothing. Regrets nothing.
Corbin's like I said what I said.
Exactly. He stands by his words.
You did
You
this,
can-
Corbin!
You can never predict what Engorgio's gonna do. I didn't see this one coming.
No.
Nope. Not at all.
Kind of raise the stakes a little bit. I mean, you know.
Still upset with my defective fellow.
If this is actually Gravik, he's completely lost his mind. The godly powers have cracked him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stop eating this garlic.
if he can dampen a 9th level spell, yeah, something's insane.
That or It's someone framing Gravik, and Gravik isn't actually this evil. He's just sitting in the Nether Sea chilling.
He's totally innocent.
Yeah.
He just put an anti-magic field up around the tavern. That is some sick magic.
Yeah, he's.
Would Arcadia would just ignore the fact that everybody's trying to, but she would, out of desperation, try to revive Ileana, but I guess it doesn't work, right?
Correct. There's not really anything to revive from there.
But I mean revivify.
No, it wouldn't have worked.
Right. I mean, I bet I'm just
come
gonna
back
play.
wrong.
No, but I mean, she would try that, so I'm gonna get rid of the diamond thing, the diamonds, because she would have in desperation burned that through.
Okay. But yeah, welcome to post-campaign.
Fun, wow.
Kill the Gravik.
Kill the Gravik. All right, I think we're good there. That was a lot of fun for that.
We never left the inn.
You never left the inn. That's what I was like. That's why I was like, yeah, it's mostly going to be RP. It's like, yeah, you won't have to worry about combat. Don't worry. So next time, I'm assuming we're heading. I mean, I'm going to assume that we're going to head down to Aresia, like make our ways down there. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's on now. I guess we're sending the dragons back since we're not supposed to bring the dragons with us.
Okay.
It's more of a question.
I mean, you could. It's up to you. That's if you want to bring them, you can. But they suggested not to. Because there are no dragons in Aresia, and
Corbin,
your dragons are well known.
Especially after seeing this, Corbin would send me back to guard his family.
Sure. And Aziz will go with her. Right.
All right.
Yeah, that was a nice little time jump and nice little session right there.
Yeah, good storytelling.
Oh yeah, that was awesome hearing everybody's stories.
I agree.
Yeah.
I laughed when somebody's, I don't remember who it was yesterday, like, oh yeah, Arcadia's going to have fun. I was like, oh no, like you guys are all telling your own stories.
Yeah, oh hell no.
That would be. I was gonna tell it in Arcadia's voice because she's the narrator.
Yeah, that would be fun. Get a voice changer.
Yeah, that would be awesome if I could get a voice changer.
All right, guys.
Yep.
Split.
Get some sleep.
Yeah, get some sleep.
So tired.
All right, stream. Thanks for hanging out, and that was a brutal. That was brutal. That's just that is just showing the team how this is going to happen, how this is going to go forward. They're level 17, and they go to level 20, so it's going to be brutal. But until then, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next Sunday, and have a good day.